Ronnie, testing, 1, 2, 3. Can you hear me? Yes, you can. Yo, 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 yo. So, that's good. Hi. Well, chilly. Afternoon. It's just you two, huh? Crypto is a piece of shit, huh? It's a piece of shit. It's a piece of fucking shit. Get a knife and just kill yourself. No. So basically, what do I say? Well, hopefully you're kind of following me on Discord, because that's kind of where I'm chatting. Because I'm not streaming every day because it's just so miserable. I don't know what to say. I want to encourage people, but there's nothing to really to say. On Friday, I was basically saying we're probably going down, and it did go down. Oh fuck! This is the thing. I can analyze, but execution is another thing. Basically, last Friday night, on Friday candle close, I said it looks really bearish, so I'm longing. Daily close higher on BTC, took PD low, previous day low. So at least, well, that's what I was thinking at the time. I posted this as just an idea, and I think up until 97500, that's what I was thinking. Long until 97500. Sol looking strong. This was yesterday morning. Everything is turning. Always feels bearish before it becomes bullish. Let's go up. Invalidated shorts closing, pulling BTC up. So yeah, so lots of longing yesterday. I was kind of posting in Discord, so it was quite nice. I don't know if anyone caught that. I was just kind of giving a little bit of commentary. I wasn't telling people what to do. I'm not here to give financial advice. I'm not here to teach people exactly, you know, like people trade differently. So I'm not here to kind of explain to people how to trade. There are ways of trading every kind of market, and fundamentally you have to try and buy at the low and sell at the high. Fundamentally, or sell at the high and buy at low. That's really basically what you have to try and do, and not try and get caught in the middle, because that's where you lose money. The most money to be made is when you kind of catch the lows for up or catch the highs for down. Anything in the middle, that's where the money's to be made, when you catch the low and it goes up. But when you kind of try and long in the middle and then it starts going down, you sell, and then it goes up and you get chopped out, you get shook out, even though it's probably still going up. And then the same thing with down. If it's going down and then you sell and it goes up, because you're in the middle, you're going to get shook out, and then the price still goes down. You sell, the price goes up. You close your position and the price still goes down because you're in the middle. In the middle, it's never fun. It's not fun in the middle. It's always more fun when you catch a reversal, or you catch it when the market's about to turn, and then you can build a position at the lows, or you can kind of try and build a position at the highs with a much tighter invalidation, because the idea is the same. If you're buying, you're expecting up. So if you're buying and the price goes down, then what do? You're out. But if you're in the middle, the price can go down and still go up, and so that's why you get trapped, and that's why you feel like you were wrong to enter, even though you're probably right, but you just came in too late, or sometimes too early, and you get chopped out. Yeah, because you suddenly see you're losing money, and you sell, you've lost your money, and then suddenly the market bounces back. So you have to be really careful when the price is in the middle. And the best traders, I'm not saying I'm the best, far from it, but the best traders will always catch the price at the edges of the range with tight invalidations, with much tighter invalidations, rather than trying to jump in the middle, Now, the most important thing to remember when it comes to trading, the most important thing, regardless of analysis, the most important thing which I posted in Discord is, what did I say? I posted it. I post ideas, huh? I posted it somewhere. It's lost in the noise. The most important thing to say that I would like to say when it comes to, oh, this is my trading. Let's see here. The most important thing is, let me see if I can find it. Can't, but I just say the most important thing is you're buying into strength and you're selling into weakness. It's really important that you focus on those two aspects of the price, strength and weakness. Yeah, you don't buy weakness, you don't sell strength. Yeah, you have to look for weakness to sell, you have to look for strength to buy. Okay, so if you start seeing the price showing signs of strength, you can start buying. And if you start seeing the price showing weakness, and if you have a confirmation of weakness, which might be losing a low of the range or a rejection from a higher resistance level, then you can start selling. So there are different ways to evaluate strength and weakness, but fundamentally when it comes to making money, just never ever go against strength when it comes to increasing prices, and never go against weakness when it comes to decreasing prices. This is weak, right? Look at this. Oh, this is a NA. I can look at any chart really right now. Look at this. It's weaker. That's pretty weak. Would you buy that? Well, it's difficult, huh? You can't buy that because you can see there's weakness. And so typically when you're starting to see weakness, you're looking to sell, not to buy. But would you sell at the bottom? No, that's the problem. You can't just sell at the bottom. You'd have to wait for the price to back test some kind of resistance level first. So you have to decide in your mind, are you going to sell or buy? You can't just kind of do both. You have to decide. And ideally, and like here in the context of Solana, we're in the middle. So you couldn't do anything. You can't buy or sell because this is the problem. If this is going down, then it could correct to continue. So you could buy, but you're scalping effectively. And actually, it might be better to wait for the price to go up, show continued weakness, and then sell into that. And vice versa. What you want to do in a context like this is let it go down, find weakness, whatever, and then start to show strength, and then you can start buying, you know, because then it's reversed and then the market's going to take it right back up. So you're kind of looking for places where the price can turn, then you're looking for signs of strength or signs of weakness. And if you can kind of just establish those two ideas, I think it will save you a lot of hassle. Yeah. And the most important thing is when it feels really bearish, it's probably best to buy. And you have to feel it. So if you feel really bullish, like look at this Solana price pump. I was asleep, otherwise I would have sold that. But it feels really bullish, huh? Look, it's going up, buy, 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 buy. You're feeling like, oh my God, I'm going to miss the move. This is the move. The move, I'm going to miss the move. That's your feeling. You've got this, suddenly you get this feeling of missing out. Suddenly you get this feeling of bullishness. Suddenly you get this feeling of it's going to the moon. Usually when you get that kind of feeling, when you get that kind of emotional reaction, it's probably, you have a higher probability that it's better to sell. So you have to reverse your mind when it comes to the market. And at the lows, shit, it's going down. The fuck? What are we going to do? Shall I sell? Oh my God. I better sell before it goes down. It's probably a good time to buy. Probably a good time to buy. Yeah, now probably is the is a very subjective word. You still need confirmation. You can't just buy. You could, but you're effectively scalping a bounce off the lows. You still need confirmation of strength, of signs of strength. And most of the move is in the middle. So if you wait for the reversal and then you start buying and you catch the main part of the move, in this context, it was like from somewhere around there all the way up to there. That's really where the move is, in the middle, but you're not looking to jump in the middle. You're looking for the sign of reversal at the edges of the ranges. And then once you get that confirmation, which is a sign of strength or a sign of weakness, then you can be looking to sell. So you might not be confident to short, but you definitely would be confident to take profit once you start seeing weakness. Yeah, and it's vice versa. If you're in a short, you start seeing strength. You may not be confident to long if you're in a short, but it may give you an indication of, okay, now it's time to start taking profit. That will be the first thing that you do. If you're in a position and you start seeing weakness, the first thing you do is you start taking profit. Yeah, if you haven't already, just to at least capture profit, and then also just to kind of minimize, like reduce your exposure to the markets because of the uncertainty that's developed in your mind. So there's quite an emotional traumatic roller coaster when it comes to the markets. It's always the same. It's the hardest thing to discipline your emotions when it comes to the market. And generally speaking, what I'm looking for are end of day closes to see roughly or kind of what the market wants to do or tries to do, and then I make a decision based on that. So on Friday, the markets were looking extremely bearish, weren't they? So again, that same feeling, the feeling of bearishness, gave me the idea to start longing. It was basically this is Friday, this really ugly candle here. Like, oh my god, it feels like it's going down, huh? So that's why I was thinking, okay, maybe we should start longing. But you don't long at the highs. You try and you're longing at the lows. Yeah, you're building a long position at the lows. And in my mind, which I posted on Discord on Friday night, in the early hours of Saturday morning, was you had a swing failure of the previous day low. Really bearish sentiment, really bearish candle. It's probably going up, probably. Just mainly because we took the lows and it didn't go down, it actually closed higher. So it's going up, but going up is relative. Like I don't think it's going to go up to the moon. I'm not thinking moon. I'm thinking, which I explained in my Discord, up until 97500. You know, like there's a range. Yeah, you're not longing to the moon, you're longing to the top of a range into resistance. Same with shorts. You're not shorting to the floor, you're shorting to support. It's really all you're trying to do when it comes to your trades. Now if you have a higher time frame idea, then you have to do it on a higher time frame. So in a higher time frame context, when it comes to Bitcoin, we're in the middle. So on the higher time frame, you wouldn't be longing here. This is not the place to long for a higher time frame move. Any longs are going to be more restricted to a daily range or a much shorter range. And then when it comes to higher time frame longing, when you have a big range like this, massive range, I've got the range here. There are two ranges actually. So I just want to show you, this is the range high, which is the all-time high. Okay. At the moment, this is the range low, which is this pivot that's been put in. There is another kind of outer range, and I'll mark it here, which is kind of this daily pivot low. This is the outer range low. The only reason I say it's the outer range low, because that's where you have the first daily candle show support at the low, yeah, before we kind of entered this range. So in terms of this range, while we're kind of range bound, and that's how you have to view the markets, we're in a range, we're bound by the range, yeah, the best place to short is at the highs, the best place to long is at the lows. Right now we're in the middle. Could it go down? Yes. Could it go up? Yes. No one really knows what's going to happen. But ideally, the best place to long is somewhere around here in the lows. Best place to short is somewhere up here in the highs. That's how you have to think. Yeah, that's where you can get most of the movement, from the lows to the highs, from the highs to the lows. That's where you can get most of the impulsive movement. Okay, but the problem is, if the price now starts to fall, which it probably will, to be honest, look at it, it's looking really bad now, then the reality is that it's going to be hard to long, because how far can it fall? You know, who knows how far it's going to fall? No one really knows. And so therefore you're looking for signs of strength on the lower time frames in the areas of interest. Okay, so right now, looking at the charts, it's pretty obvious where the areas of interest are. There's a few. Just looking at the candles, there's an SFP there, swing failure, just a weekly low there, that candle low. The price could easily go all the way down and ping back up very easily could do that. Okay, there's this range low. If there's no kind of strength here, then you've got this low here. And if you're just whatever, then you're here. Basically, those are your three areas of interest right now. Okay, not to say that the price can't reverse anywhere in between. Yeah, no one can predict that. And there is a level slightly below us where the price could reverse, but it'd be very easy to see that, and so I'm going to show you. And in the highs, effectively you're looking to take out these highs here, I think, which is somewhere around 107, this, starting with this one, 106, this the top of these green wicks. That's basically good areas to sell, good areas to short. Okay, the reason why is because you'd have to wait for weakness, you'd have to wait for a sign of weakness, you'd have to wait or take the swing failure with good risk management. But effectively, and if you're in spot, you would start selling a little bit, you'd start taking profit at the very least. The reason why is because you're in the range highs, you're coming into previous resistance levels. That's basically where anyone who's longing from the lows, let's say the price does go down, if then the price goes as a full circuit, goes all the way back up to the highs, anyone who's long in the lows is going to take profit, aren't they? As they go up, as it goes up, they're going to take profit at different key levels, maybe there, and then if they've still got positions, they'll take profit. And so effectively what happens is when people, I'm going to say people, I mean when the bigger players are taking profit, they're taking profit at market. Yeah, they're doing market sells or market buying. That pulls the price down, and we're dealing with large amounts of volume. When the bigger players start market selling or market buying, we're talking about millions and millions and millions of dollars of buys and sells, and that will reverse the price because it's just too much volume coming in at specific levels. There's also kind of liquidation levels at those levels. If I was to go now and have a look at the BTC liquidation map, you can just go and have a look for yourself. Yeah. Oh, that's not helpful. What is this shit? Let me go to another one. Binance. There you go. Let me change that to a monthly time frame from the previous month. You can kind of see the best areas to long, so or short. The deep yellow areas are the best places to short, and the deep yellow areas are the best places to long. Okay, so you can see there's going up, there's not really any liquidations until we get much higher, So the probability is the price to go down, because the price will probably go down and collect liquidity from the lows, or liquidate. There's a little gap there, and then you've got this kind of 91k area, big liquidation. If you get a swing failure off that week low with a liquidation event, that would be a pretty good place. And then you've cleared the liquidity, haven't you? You've cleared all that liquidity. And when you clear the liquidity, when the market makers clear the liquidity, guess what they do? They pump the price and they go up and they liquidate everyone who's been shorting. It's usually what happens. It's the balance of probabilities, yeah? So in a range-bound context, people are going to get really bearish at the lows. This is a 3-month heat map. Let me go a little bit. Let me go to 6 months. Look. Oh, let's get rid of this. What's that shit? Oh my god. So you can see there's a lot of liquidations, 89k through to around 84, and then you've got like zero, no liquidation areas. So if we kind of if we just go down in a crazy collapse and start hitting these areas of liquidation, that's basically the area that you're looking for longs. And then vice versa, if the price starts going up, it starts liquidating in the highs, it's kind of all the way up to the all-time high. It's kind of good place to short. That's basically your range, yeah? And what the price will do is go from top to bottom, liquidating. That's what it likes to do. So if you look historically here, in this kind of, this is not the whole market, this is just Binance. But you see here, if you look at historically, the price went up to liquidate, then it came down to liquidate, and it goes up to liquidate, then it goes down to liquidate, then it goes up to liquidate. It was always kind of bouncing between areas of liquidation. That's what the price does. And so that's why when I or other people do kind of analysis, we're looking for the areas of maximum confluence and also maximum areas of kind of liquidity where it's possible for bigger players to enter, because bigger players can't enter in the middle because it's just not liquid enough. So if they start market buying, the price moves too much, so they kind of have to do it at the edges where the market is being liquidated. Yeah, that's kind of how it is. That's kind of how it works. There's more to it, but that's just kind of like a simple explanation of how the market works. Once you understand how the market works, it becomes a lot easier. So what I can see now is in this range. Let me just kind of bring it to a 4-hour time scale so I can get a more accurate reading of volume. And I'm taking it from all the way down to the outer range low that I've marked out. If I kind of, so I initially had this Wyckoff distribution. That's obviously not in play, not this one anyway. Because if it was, then we wouldn't be where we are. Okay, so it was just an idea. There's probably still some kind of distribution in play, and so there's different types of Wyckoff distribution schematic. I picked schematic 2, Wyckoff schematic. I still think there's a distribution happening before our eyes. You know, I still think that. I don't think that this is going to be the big move that takes us to higher prices in an incredible bull run where everything pumps and doesn't come back down for a while. It could happen, but I don't think so. This is the schematic 2. This is the schematic 1, right? I initially contemplated schematic 2 because it was looking very similar to schematic 2. But that being said, there is a schematic 1, okay? We could be in a schematic 1 type scenario. If we're in a schematic 1, then the sign of weakness has already happened still. So that's correct because we had the UT in phase B, which is there. So that's still correct. The schematic 2 requires us to kind of grind up after we put in this low. This one is, It has a similar pattern, but maybe we haven't actually put in the low yet. It's tricky to know. You almost have to go down now still, just to kind of shake out the final shakeout. Now the best long is going to be a swing failure, and so you're kind of this low is still happening. This sign of weakness is still happening. Yeah. This second one. Okay, so we've had the first one followed by the UT. So we have this kind of second one that's kind of still happening. It's kind of hard to preempt. If we go lower down to here, then we're looking at something slightly different. And I'll explain. Okay, I will explain what happens if we go lower. So these Wyckoff distribution schematics are based on not taking out this pivot low. I don't think we can take out that pivot low for these Wyckoff distribution schematics to be in play. Okay, because just looking at the chart, you have your sign of weakness. That is the low of the schematic, which based on this formation would suggest that's the low. So if we go down and take this low but not this one and then start coming back up, then we're still in the schematic, aren't we? Now the question then, I don't think this is this it won't be a schematic 2. Could be still, and we'd have to see. It would all depend on what happens as you go up. You kind of zigzag up. Do you take the highs and not take the all-time high, or do you have the final UTAD test, take the actual high, lose the high and start coming back down? Either way, it just means that this second part here hasn't fully formed, but what is required is to not take the sign of weakness in phase B. That's really required for the schematics to be in play. If you see that we find, if we don't take the sign of weakness, we do come down and take this low, but actually find support and start finding strength back in the range and start going up, then we're clearly in a Wyckoff distribution schematic. And then the next kind of rotation will be to the highs, and then it will be a sell. It'll be the final chance to sell, basically, before we get a massive capitulation type event later on. Okay, so we're still potentially in a Wyckoff distribution schematic. Yeah, it's a balance of probabilities. It's never 100%. It's not, none of this is financial advice. Yeah, it's just kind of giving, appreciating ideas of what could be happening and waiting for the right moment to strike if you're looking to buy or looking to go long or looking to leverage or whatever. Okay, so that's kind of at the moment where we're at regards to what I originally kind of talked about, which was a Wyckoff distribution schematic. So we clearly have to see what happens next. It's very difficult to know, but you know, looking at the price action today, it looked bullish and then it becomes bearish, you know, but actually what's happened is like we're falling underneath this range point control. So let me just hide that. Let me just get my volume up. You see now the point of control has moved lower. We're underneath the point of control. The range value area is a bit lower. We have a slight high volume node here. I'm just gonna, I'll keep that for now. It might be relevant, I don't know. Then you have the range high, you've got the range lows. Okay, now this is the question, huh? So let me kind of delete that. What happens if we don't find strength here? Okay, and also, even though I think potentially right now the Wyckoff distribution schematic 2 is not necessarily relevant, it could still be relevant, and I'll explain why. Okay, so there's still things that can happen here which makes this first idea, which was the schematic 2, relevant. Okay, and so again, it's a balance of probabilities. That's all it ever is, of potentially what could be happening. Okay, and I'll explain. So what we experienced here was quite a strong move from losing this area to come down and taking the high again. And this isn't a sell-off, this is a corrective down move. Okay, it feels like a sell-off, but it isn't. If it's it's just very illiquid, and the market likes to buy and sell in droves, and then so it pushes the price up and then pushes it down, etc. But there is a possibility. I don't know how high the possibility is. You just have to evaluate it as it's happening. Okay, there is a possibility that the price finds support of the golden pocket. It's always possible for the price to find and reverse at the golden pocket. Yeah, you can't ever ignore the golden pocket. The golden pocket, i.e. it's the range between the 618 and the outer edge of the golden pocket, which is somewhere between the 6.6, the 6.5, or the 6.7, just somewhere there, where the price can find support. And if it finds support and you find a reversal there, then that could be the low of this corrective move, and the price could then go up. Okay, so there is an area here where it is possible, still not that much lower, where the price could find support. Yeah, it can happen, and that's why I'm contemplating it. But you can't just jump in and expect it to happen and think this is happening just because I see a little reaction, because naturally the price, when it hits the golden pocket, you will see a reaction. Naturally you will see some kind of reaction. Why? Because if anyone is short in this range, will take profit at the golden pocket. Why wouldn't they? They might just be waiting for the golden pocket to hit. They might have taken some profit to protect their shorts, but anyone who's shorted on Friday here, they might still be sitting in fat shorts, big fat shorts. Yeah, coming to the point of control would have been the first place that a big short would have taken profit, but they may be looking to take a little bit more profit at the golden pocket, somewhere around there. Okay, and it's just a good place that where the price could bottom out if it wants to. No one knows. If that was to happen, again, it's an if. It's always an if, isn't it? Like, we don't know. Just have to see what happens as the price comes to those areas. We're still potentially in this schematic too, because we've already put our low. Look, we've gone up. Look how far we come back down to the golden pocket. It could work, huh? Go up, go down, go up, go down, go up, and then we start going up. You know, it could still happen. It's just that initially I thought maybe we'd find support a little bit higher. We haven't done that, and so maybe this is what we might experience. It's possible. So this is the thing. It's all possible, and it's good to contemplate possibilities. If for some reason we can't find support at the golden pocket, okay, and the way to know is you lose it, you get a reaction, and then you reclaim it. You reclaim the golden pocket. Yeah, that's how you know. You know in the reclaim. You won't know otherwise. You won't know if we found support here, because you've lost it. You've lost it. You wouldn't short it thinking we're going lower, because the price would come up and reclaim it. It's not the right place to short, and that's where a lot of people get trapped, because they feel like we've lost it, so they start shorting. Then the price comes up and they get they get liquidated or whatever, and then what you get is you get a long step in, because they see the price action. They see that the price has failed to go lower, and then longs will step in on the pullback, and they'll be looking to kind of catch the bottom end of the golden pocket on the pullback. Then if you see the price start going up, you have a really nice tight invalidation, which would be the reclaim. That's your invalidation. Whatever happens, you got a little bit of market structure there to show you what's happening, and then the price could, just as fast as it comes down, could just ping right back up. Okay, could totally do that, and then that would be the low, and it doesn't mean it's going to the moon, because if that is the Wyckoff distribution too, it's not going to the moon, is it? It's going to go up and down like this, for fuck's sake, you know. So it's still hard to hold it and trade it, because what can happen is the price comes all the way back down, and you're like, oh shit, I should have taken profit, I better close my position, and the price goes right back up. Oh shit, I was right, I better long now. Oh my god, FOMO. Now you're longing at the highs, and the price comes back down, and then it fucks you, you know? You're fucked. And that's what the market does. It fucks you. Yeah, literally. You're the gimp from the movie Pulp Fiction. You are the gimp. It's not easier. It's definitely not easy. It's a lot easier if the price just came down. Get rid of this shit. And it never comes down in a straight line. Sometimes it does, but never usually. It'd be a lot easier if the price comes down, and then you just get the kind of the final capitulation, liquidation, and you're long there. It'd be much easier because the selling's exhausted. There's no more selling. Shorts have been trapped in the lows. And after you reclaim kind of that level, probably you have a nice invalidation here because you're not expecting this, then you're expecting up, you're expecting the bottom. And then what usually happens in that circumstance is you get a nice big kind of squeeze. Ping! And you're in a really nice position. Huh? You're in a really good, strong position. You're at the lows. You're in a strong position. At the very least, you can take a little bit of profit and then put your position to stop loss to 0. So you don't lose in case shit happens and we do that. Yeah. And then you don't have to worry. That's going to be a much easier place to long. It's not going to be easy, but it's going to be an easier place to long than somewhere here at the golden pocket, because the price can always go up and come right back down just for another test, you know, and it becomes harder. Whereas down here becomes easier because the selling's exhausted and the price is reversing, and then longs are now trapping shorts, and then the price pings up really quickly. That's when you get the kind of the crazy impulsive moves, because shorts get trapped at the lows thinking the price is going to break down. Okay, so there are areas of interest. Okay, there are areas of interest of what could happen in the price, and we just have to see what happens. So I think the first area for me right now is quite simply this golden pocket, and there is a high volume node based on the volume of the range just underneath it. So that would, like, if you do kind of like a little breakdown, that would be a good place for shorts to take profit, which can initially bring the price back up. Then we have to see if longs kind of jump in. Yeah, just have to see. Yeah, and we won't really know until you get kind of like that, you know, like it looks bearish, but usually what happens when you get something like that is on the local kind of area, this price comes back to the local golden pocket, which kind of corresponds with the bottom part of the higher area of the golden pocket. You see a reaction, you see the price goes back above the 618, and then it flips the 618 into support. Ideally the entry is kind of somewhere around here, to be honest with you, because you have such a tight invalidation. But if you see the sign of strength, that would be fine as well, as long as locally the price is formed finding support and you have a relatively tight invalidation. And then confirmation would be just to get right back above this area, and then you'll probably, in the same way that we kind of squeeze down, will probably kind of ping up for a little bit for a nice big take profit, and then again the price will shake people out, because then it will come right back down probably to find support again, whatever, and that will be your Wyckoff distribution. Basically it's a massive distribution. It could still be a schematic too. It's just that it's not easy catching it perfectly. And you know, there's a lot of people, maybe they're sitting in leverage positions and the market makers have decided, fuck the market, we want to liquidate longs, because they're sitting in really nice longs at 91k, still haven't taken profit, they're 100x max long, let's go and liquidate them first. And if the market makers decide that's what they want to do, or the market as a whole, then we're going down. Then there's nothing that can happen here that's going to change the direction of travel. So this is the kind of first area of significant interest. I think if we go down into golden pocket, I wouldn't just long it. I think that would be a mistake. Apart from scalps, scalp longs are always possible. So are scalp shorts. I think what you'd be looking for is a reaction from this high volume node that I've marked out. Okay, I think that's kind of really the first place that I'll be looking for the price to potentially reverse, right at the bottom end of the golden pocket, and right down by the lows of this wick. Let's have a look at the, yeah, like right down. It could even take out that wick, to be honest with you. Take out that wick. Maybe there's some liquidation area here. That would be the first place I would imagine the price would try to find a little bit of support. Now, what happens in a situation like that is shorts will take profit. They will. And then if there's not enough sell liquidity, the price will spring right back up. It will look really bullish. And that gives you an indication, the first indication of, oh, wait, shit. There aren't many people selling, actually. And then anyone who's caught the long here will start taking profit. Anyone who has missed the short might want to short, so they'll jump in. And that's what we want to see. We want to see the price find support and go up type thing. I don't know how it's going to happen, but that's kind of what you want to see. If you start seeing that, that could be good. But I mean, again, personally, I'll be looking for the daily and the weekly time frame candles to determine real strength or real weakness. Okay, I just can't. This is not stronger. This is just not strong. What we're seeing right now is not strong. Yeah, it's just a fact. Yeah, I had an idea. Of a diamond, and no. Yeah, and it's quite interesting because yesterday it actually kind of came into my line. I posted this in Discord. It came perfectly into my line, and I was thinking, oh wow, this is quite interesting. This is looking quite nice. But you know, 97.5 was the area. Actually, the point of control moved lower, so obviously it was a bit lower. And look, just kind of, it's like a fucking, it's a rejection of that idea. So that was a nice idea at the time, but you know, you kind of need to continue for that to happen. And the market didn't want to. So the market was happy to stop buying at the point of control, and then people started selling. Effect, I don't know if people shorted. It's not easy to short. Probably some people did to cover, but I probably this is just people taking profit. Probably it's a good place to take profit. And longs will not long into the point of control because that's resistance. Yeah, so if the market wanted to go up, it would have. It didn't, so it's coming down. So that diamond is finished, and now what we're experiencing is really weak price action. We just have to, it's right now in this context, and it's very difficult. Because normally I would say getting back above the point of control would be a sign of strength. But in this context, the point of control is being washed like a motherfucker. Yeah, it's being washed. Huh? So it's not acting as support or resistance in any meaningful way on any time frame right now. Okay, and obviously the point of control has also shifted. So right now you see it went up to there. Why have I got it lower? Because did I do that right? Why is it moved? Let me just check this again. Oh, I've taken too much data, that's why. Oh my god. Yeah, it's actually where it was. So it's still there. At the moment it's actually showing a little bit of resistance, huh? So whereas before it was getting washed like a motherfucker, now you can see it's a clear resistance level. So anyway, that's kind of what's happening in the market. So let me just kind of analyze. So the first area of interest for a long could be only if the price finds support on this high volume node, reclaim of the golden pocket, and then you'll see a nice squeeze up, and that will still be Wyckoff, but that will be the turning point. Wyckoff schematic 2. If that fails, then possibly looking at a Wyckoff schematic. It's harder because that would mean that this hasn't bottomed out completely. I just don't want to see this SOW in phase B to be taken out. If that's taken out, it's not really a Wyckoff schematic, is it? It's something else. So it'd be hard to kind of follow that schematic if this range low is taken. I'd rather, if we do go down and lose the kind of high volume node here, to just kind of there. That's kind of where you want to long. I don't know if I would like to see this low taken out. I think if that low gets taken out, that would be a lower low, and that would be problematic because you've gone from a lower low to a higher high to a lower low. Okay, and then honestly, in this context, the next move up from there would be a lower high, especially with the market sentiments and the price action being strongly bearish, in the momentum be strongly bearish. Yeah, you wouldn't necessarily be, I mean, it could go up as high as the point of control, get people bullish. It could even go as high as the range value area high, but it would be really bearish. I don't think it'd be quite bullish to go there. Like, if you take out that range low, it's a lower low. Best case scenario in a move would be back up to 100k area, golden pocket for a lower high. Best case scenario, I think. Just kind of, you've taken out the low, go up for a lower high, and then the market's just going to dump on this shit. Okay, it's just, it's, you know, shit happens, but I'm not, you wouldn't expect it to suddenly just go from, I'm not expecting a lower low here to a lower, higher high there to a lower low, all the way back up to a high. I'm not really expecting that. If you go from a lower low, I'm not expecting a lower low to a higher high to a lower low to a high. I'm not really expecting that. Crazy things happen in crypto, so even though I'm not expecting it, shit happens. So I'm not saying it can't happen, just not expecting it, and so therefore I wouldn't think it's a high probability idea. The bet, if you take out this range low, it's more realistic to find resistance somewhere in the way. If we come all the way down to here, golden pocket would be ideal, but if it's really bearish, then, you know, somewhere halfway, somewhere halfway would be more realistic. I mean, depending on how low you get, maybe you know, all the way back up to the point of control or something like that. But you wouldn't be looking for higher, basically. That's the point. Then if you reject from a lower high, guess what happens? The market decides, all right, fuck crypto, I'm going to sell, and then there's no one's going to be looking to buy, and then it becomes, you lose the range value area low, and then we're just going lower. And if that happens, then you're not holding here at the outer range low. So the outer range low is only relevant in this circumstance. I just want to kind of highlight it. Okay, now this is kind of really important, because if we start capitulating now, and this is some kind of crazy double top type scenario, okay, there's no Wyckoff distribution, it's just a double top, a very clean, valid double top. You've lost the range low, no strength, yeah, like that. that could be the next great long for all-time highs. Or if not all-time high, I think so. The thing is, I've been talking about coming down to 73, 74, 75 before the next great move, to the next crazy move, right? I contemplated more of, let's kind of go up again to kind of come down like that, to go up like that for the next crazy move somewhere at the end of April, right? But if we now go down straight to 84k, I'm not, even though people, I don't think the bull market's over. That's the thing. The timing doesn't work. Yeah. If we suddenly in the next week, we just come down all the way down to 84k, we're still in a bull market. We're not, suddenly hasn't just gone bearish in February. Yeah. That would actually be the buy of a lifetime. That would be the capitulation moment where actually you probably be looking to buy for a really impulsive 5-wave move, taking Bitcoin to crazy heights here, like that. That's probably the final push, the alt season that everyone's been looking for. Everyone's saying, oh, alt season's coming. Yeah, maybe it still is, but anything short of that, I think, would be a little bit, a Wyckoff distribution would not be good for alts, to be honest with you. It might give alts a little relief rally, and that's all it will be. Whereas this would be a capitulation of this range, and what you'll be looking for then is some kind of failed auction. This is what this is, a failed auction of the range low into the outer range low. Okay, and basically the price will capitulate and it'll just land here. Everyone will be like, bull season's over, fuck the crypto, sell, I'm out. I bought at 73k, I didn't take profit at 107 or 108, we're back at 85, I'm just going to sell. That's the mentality, that's the attitude. Okay, but that would be a failed auction of range low after this crazy sell-off. A good time to buy, a really good time to buy, good place to buy. If this is what happens, this would be a really good place to buy, not a good place to sell, a great place to buy, because everyone is going to be selling, everyone's going to be bearish, but what the price is actually doing is liquidated everyone in the lows, finding support here because you've had massive liquidation events and you just come down to the outer range low, and that'll be an amazing place to long, and that will be your 5-wave move, possibly the final 5, because even though I said the 5 waves are over, it is possible that there's a final last impulsive wave. It is possible. I am possibly thinking that, and so I've talked about Elliott waves. Let me just bring it onto the chart now. Is that the right one? The index. Which one's the index? There it is. That's the Elliott wave that I've been contemplating to come all the way down to here. Okay, we still may come down to here or here. I don't know exactly where, but this last wave, this kind of the last 5, it is, and this is what I'm thinking, it is possible that we have a final impulsive move to complete this. Okay, until we see it, it's going to be hard to know. It is possible that we had our, I don't know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here, correction, and we had our 3, that's our 3, and it is possible that we're experiencing this for a final impulsive 5 to complete this, and that would come all the way down to where I suggested, and then you get your final 5, your final wave 5 to complete this 5, to complete that 3. Okay, potentially then you are still going down to 70k or not, or just back to range low. Like, things change a little bit if that happens, but we'd have to analyze it. because potentially you could get a capitulation event to take us all the way back down. Yeah. And then you could start the next big bull market wave, which would be a massive, gigantic wave taking us from 70k to 230. Okay. And so there is a possibility that if we do go straight down to 84, 85, that we have a really nice impulsive 5-wave move to take us to like 100 and whatever, 15, 20, whatever. We'd have to look at it, because we still haven't completed this last 5-wave of this light blue that I've drawn. Yeah. So we've had like the 5 waves here, we've had the 5 waves here, and we still need to find the last impulsive wave, the last wave, just because we're still in kind of that the bull market season. That's kind of where I'm at with regards to that. Just have to see how this plays out, because no one can know 100%. These are just ideas of what could happen, right? And that will probably be around 84k. All right, if we go straight down to 84k now, that'll be a buy, not a sell. If we just go straight down now to 84k, it'd probably mean that ETH goes all the way back down to 2k. Huh? If that was to happen, then ETH at 2k would be a buy of a lifetime for the next big move. Okay, and that's kind of where I'm thinking. And a lot of the capitulated coins would either go back to their capitulation lows, or other coins would capitulate too, because people would think that bull market's over. But it is possible, just looking at the movement of this, it is possible that we actually have one more waver. I'm just looking at this. Maybe that was your 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and you have like a correction like this for the last move, the last wave, to complete this 3, to complete this 5, and then we're going all the way back down to back test this range. That would be my preferred area of test in some kind of mini bear market. How long that lasts, who knows? It could last the summer, could last a few months. Yeah, it would look really bearish, but then you could reclaim this range, finding support here, and you could be starting the crazy move, the absolute crazy move, the move of a lifetime, the move of a generation, basically the life-changing I'm going to become rich move. Okay, so you just got to consider these options, and it just depends on what happens next. Like, no one really knows what's going to happen, and so that's why it's good to kind of contemplate what's happening. I don't have a preferred outlook, to be honest with you. I think in some cases I wouldn't mind going down to 84k, so we can get a little bit of a nice bull move, kind of long all the way to the moon, just before we do kind of finally properly capitulate back down to 70k. And then also just bear in mind that if this does go down and then it does go up, it doesn't have to go all the way back down to 70, because you could have a correction that just takes us all the way back down to take this low to go up. You know, could totally do that. And so you just have this permanent gap form in the market, which never really gets filled. And so we will have to analyze that after the event of what happens next, because it's all speculative. No one really knows what's going to happen. All right. So these are ideas. There's a few ideas here, and that's kind of where we're at now with the market. It's generally speaking, like when I'm looking at the charts, I'm going to look at the daily time frame, the weekly time frame, the monthly time frame. So let me do that and give some context on some of these candles that we're forming. Look, we've come down into monthly, the monthly level, had a little reaction. Maybe it's not good enough, it's not a great reaction. Maybe we need to go lower to get a real reaction, to get a proper reaction. Okay. We have to see how this, I mean, this is a potential topping pattern here. So that's why I'm kind of worried a little bit. On the weekly time frame, we had a really bearish previous week. It was a bearish engulfing weekly candle. The price went up to the top of the bearish engulfing, rejected, and it's come all the way back down to the bottom of the candle, bottom of the wick of that weekly candle. Extremely bearish price action. It's gone down, it's gone up, and it's right back down to the lows. Really bearish. It's really bearish. Now, this weekly close for me is going to be really important, and I'll tell you why. And no one knows how we're going to close, okay? So I have no idea. We're at the weekly low right now. If we close higher, like anywhere higher, honestly, I would be looking to buy this dip. I'd be looking to long. If we close lower, you could buy, but then I wouldn't buy and hold. So it would change my idea of how of what I do next. Yeah, like a higher close for me is bullish, is more bullish. A lower close is, in this context, is a continuation of further downside on the weekly time frame. So we're kind of at that pivotal moment where we're going to see a little bit of choppiness towards the end of the day with a final close. We have to see how we close. If it closes lower, then this is really, really bearish, and we're probably looking to go down, and it will probably still be bearish. Huh? If it closes higher, we're probably still looking to go down. Yeah, because it's unlikely that even if you close higher, that the price is just going to go up like that without going down. It's unlikely. It's more likely, like, it doesn't really make sense. No one's going to just market buy this to go up. The price will probably look for liquidity lower. It might nicely go and take the weekly low, come right back up to the top there, and then it could be the Wyckoff distribution that I'm talking about. Okay, so we have to see what happens here. I think if it closes lower, I would actually be thinking we could get a reaction here, but actually it's probably looking to go down, okay, further. And that will kind of give me the indication, possibly, that we're going all the way down to 84 or not. That's kind of where I'm going to be thinking. So if we close higher, I might be thinking Wyckoff distribution, one of the schematics. If we close lower, I'll be thinking we're going down to 84, 85, 84. But how we get there, I think it's possible that we still get a reaction from this area, but it just means that you'll get longs go up and they'll sell into it, and then you're actually still going down. You'll go all the way down to here maybe, okay, and by the end of the week you're actually closing back above the weekly low type thing. So you end up with a really bearish red weekly candle. Still, we have a really strong buying tail. You're closing back above the weekly low. That would, for me, would be an amazingly bullish candle, because you've closed back above the weekly low after taking the liquidity from all the way down to the outer range low, and it could end up much higher. Really bullish. It would look really bearish, but actually in this context it would be really bullish for that to happen, to go all the way down here to close back into that weekly range, and then I'll be thinking we're probably going to much higher. Probably going to go all the way up the next week. Probably just going to go smash, and just go straight through to all-time highs in that kind of a way. So I'm kind of observing what happens next on these kind of higher time frames. For me, the 3-day candle doesn't look too bad for the last week, but we've kind of come up and we were right back underneath it. It hasn't closed yet. It's 2 days to go. It is possible to reverse, but these next 3 days, for it to be possible, for there to be a possible reversal here, in the next 2 days, we just kind of have to be here. We just have to really just be here. Ideally, you want to take the candle low first and end up with a small candle. So on the 3-day time frame, I am looking at the different time frames to see what could happen in between. again with the 2-day time frame, it closed higher than the previous low. So that's why I was kind of like a bit more bullish on the Friday, thinking it is possible to go up all the way and put a lower high there. This 2-day candle has been extremely weak. The buyers haven't really stepped in, so it's a really weak candle. This red doji at the lows is a really weak candle, so it is probable that we could quite easily go up a bit, lower high, and then smash through down like that, something like that, and it's something like that. And it doesn't have to go that high. It could just be a little bit. It could just be like that, something like that. Hold on, my phone's ringing. So that's kind of where we're at right now. Yeah, it's hard to buy that. I mean, it's always like the thing you have to understand about these red candles, especially with these kind of red dojis or spinning tops or whatever. If it closes like this, it's always possible. It's always possible for the next 2 days to have a really nice bullish engulfing. And then it is possible to reverse this here, but it's not likely. It's possible, but it's not likely. So here it's kind of trying to be green, getting a little bit of a buy from the lows here. You see, that's the thing, you know, you have to buy and sell at the edges of the range, not in the middle, because that's where you get the best kind of entry and the best kind of price action. Yeah, and see, looks, it's still there's still a little bit of strength, still buying and selling going on. Yeah, so shorts getting trapped, really bearish, shorting the lows, they get trapped, they end up market buying. Let's have a look at the local price action as well. Oops. Yeah, created a buying tail, so that, and now the price is just kind of swinging back up to the top of the value area, back up to the VWAP. Shorts get trapped. That's what normally happens. Now people are getting bullish, getting bullish again. Now they're buying, people are buying, but actually it's kind of coming to areas where it's probably better to sell. Let me see this. There's a nice buying tail here, so that's kind of what reversed the price in the medium local time frame here. Look, ETH is back up to there. Let's look at Solana here. Then back up to 200. It's all the way down to 196. Basically, they're just following each other, aren't they now? So whereas before ETH and Solana was pumping, now they're just kind of following each other. Everything's mimicking Bitcoin. Let's just have a look at ETH here. Let's just see if there's any. There's no buying tails here on ETH. Any on Solana? No buying tails here. So they right now, all the coins now are just following Bitcoin right now. Whereas before they weren't. Before they were pumping ahead of. They were kind of doing more. They were a bit more aggressively going up. Right now they're just kind of following Bitcoin. Nothing else, and nothing more than that. So that kind of moment of altcoin hysteria is over, I guess. Yeah, and now we're just back to Bitcoin being Big Daddy. And so here in this context, that was the long. That buying tail was the long. Coming back up to this previous session, point of control somewhere around here. I wouldn't short here. I'd be looking to short weakness. It's hard to short when you suddenly see a little strong move like that. Kind of the best place is, when you're looking at the chart locally, the best places to buy and sell is the golden pocket. That's kind of where you want to do it. You don't really want to do it anywhere else. In the middle, you don't want to do it in the middle. You want the price to go up and reject from there. That's what you want, because that's where the lower high, it's going to be a lower low, lower high. That's where it's going to be. It's going to be around the golden pocket area. That's kind of where you want to buy and sell. And so in reverse, I don't think this is strong, because it didn't, like, the golden pocket, it was the right place and it didn't find support. So what you're getting is a little bit of a corrective up, but it's still not good, is it? It's not good. Now, the only way for this to become strong in this context, if it wants to be, would be to kind of find support there. That's when longs can enter. That's the only time you can enter, is if you find support on the golden pocket in this context for a long to go up. But then the problem is, in this context, again, back to context is key. How far can you go? The range would be tight. You'd be going from there to there. Basically, it's like a little scalp. There's no move to be had in that range, apart from a little scalp. And here the entry wasn't obvious, because traders will look for a swing failure. They didn't get it, and so it's shorts getting trapped, and probably shorts just closing, because the price didn't go down. It didn't continue. They thought this is going to zero, didn't go down. It's actually correcting back up. Sorry, I was looking at the wrong chart there. So yeah, so as I was explaining, you see the golden pocket. That's the kind of the area where the price will reverse if it wants to. And then, as I was explaining, where it should have found support is the golden pocket. In this context, if you find support here, then you could have a long. But again, it's corrective, isn't it? So you've had this kind of big sell. This is the buy. Shorts getting liquidated, longs getting liquidated. And now if longs want to step in, it's the golden pocket. And if shorts want to step in, it will be the golden pockets. People looking to short, it'll be the golden pocket. That's the areas of interest that you're looking at. Loss and reclaim of the golden pocket is really what you're looking for. Anything outside of that, it's going to be much more difficult to enter and to know when to exit. So looking at this local range, just range bound her. We've had a failed auction above the range. That's a failed auction. Yeah. And so it's not strong, is it? And the price hasn't taken the lows here yet, which is kind of what you want to see. You want to see the lows taken. If you see the lows taken, that gives you more confidence that it doesn't really want to go lower, because we don't know, because people have stop losses there. You want them to be stopped out and liquidated for the price to find support. And until we get that, we don't know. So that's why this was quite a strong move here, because the price couldn't go lower after it took out that low. So until we get that, we don't know. There's no way to know until we take out these lows to know if the price wants to go lower or not. And so that's probably just shorts closing, which pulls the price back up. That's probably what it is. Let's have a look at the order flow to see if that's what it was quickly. Well, that was a big long here entered, relatively speaking. Short came in there. Look at that. This big short just came in there, and some longs. And here the price going up, shorts are closing. So that shorts are closing. Not many liquidations. Liquidations down, small ones up. Back to test daily open. Yeah, so are longs entering here? Can you see longs entering? Not really. Can't see much longing. If anything, I can see some shorting. A little bit of shorting happening here. A little bit of bearish CVD here on the local time frame, 1 minute time frame. CVD is slightly trending up. Price is coming down. So you've got some shorts entering here. Small shorts kind of just scaling in. That's what it looks like at the moment. Those are kind of a short there. This was a big take profit here, and that was a short closing. See that short closed out? That's why the price went up. It's not bullish when shorts close and the price goes up. Yeah, that's not, you want people to long and the price to go up. That means someone's pushing the price up because they think it's going higher. When a short closes and the price goes up, it's not bullish at the highs, it's more bullish. You start seeing shorts close at the lows, the price goes up. That's what you're looking for the price to continue going up, not when the price capitulates at the highs and shorts give up at the highs, especially when you start seeing shorts entering, which we've seen some shorts entering here. So it's kind of what's happening with the price right now. I think the big moves are going to happen tomorrow in New York. Asia can sometimes capitulate the price if Asia feels bearish. You could get I don't know what's going to happen, but I mean, Asia session could take the price down. New York could take the price up and then drop it. Totally happen. And then New York could buy back in and just take it right back up. Really, the move is the direction is set by New York. Friday, the direction was set by New York. It was a down. It wasn't an up. It was a down, wasn't it? It went up and then it dumped. So that was the direction was set by New York. And always the direction will usually be set by what happens in the New York when New York opens. Let me have a look at the kind of the momentum now, because that's quite important too. You see here the 4-hour midpoint of this Bollinger Band. We've kind of came above it, we lost it. This is looking quite bearish, isn't it? So we're kind of underneath the midpoint of the 4-hour. We're right back at the lows. It's looking quite bearish. We're back underneath the 2-hour midpoint, back underneath the 1-hour midpoint, basically back underneath all of these time frames, back underneath the midpoint, apart from the very low, the 5-minute. If that turns again, if it falls underneath the 5-minute midpoint, because the rest are kind of looking quite bearish, that might be your kind of entry to kind of get out. And you see this higher time frame, the 12-point midpoint has been kind of trending down. The price has been kind of stuck here, consolidating, and we have to see what happens next. But if that wants to keep pushing the price down, then it could totally do that. It could totally just keep on trending down, pushing the price down, and you could continue down. It's very possible. The daily's kind of relatively flat. So we have a lot of chop in store for us. Yeah, you can see they're turning. The only thing that gives us a little bit of hope is this weekly one. This weekly midpoint has not been hit yet, and it's trending up. It's really strongly trending up. Yeah, that's kind of why my argument is that it'd be nice to just go down here underneath that. That would be a good place. It would be a good place to come down underneath there for a failed auction to just smash up. It's kind of really good place. Little failed auction of the range lows right into 84, 85k, and then you've got this. The confidence there is that you've got this weekly time frame midpoint that's strongly trending up, and that could easily smash the price through the roof, right up to the top here, somewhere up the top, just because we haven't hit it at all yet. And the last time we hit it here, look, I'd consider that a hit. You see how the price actually went up and then up and up and up to the top of the range type thing. So you've got lower time frame, medium time frame, even potentially daily 3-day time frame turning, but you've got this weekly time frame midpoint strongly trending up. So I don't think we, on the higher time frame, we're still yet ready to go down. Huh? And then I'm kind of interested to see what happens. And obviously on the monthly time frame, again, this is why I think potentially 70k will be a good place for a final capitulation in the future, is because you've got this monthly time frame midpoint, which is right now it's at 60k. In a month's time or 2 months time, it could be right at the right place for the price to come down and ping off it type thing. You know, you kind of would expect it to happen, you know. last time the price did that, when the price came from the highs, look at the monthly time frame. It tried to ping, didn't really ping, but it did hold the support for a few months. There was some gains to be made there, and ultimately lost it. And obviously the minute the price came back above it, it just rallied up. So these are kind of some things to think about. Not in any trades right now. I'm not longing or shorting right now. I'm just now all I'm doing is just waiting for this daily time frame to close, this weekly to close, just to kind of get higher time frame confirmation of what I think could happen. And then I'll be looking for some kind of daily confirmation. Like, it's really, I mean, you could long, but it's really difficult, because where's your validation? It'd be a lot easier for the price to go down than take these lows here and come back in. It'd be a lot easier to long in that circumstance, yeah, because if it does that again, kind of what I suggested, if it just goes down to the golden pocket and comes right back up, then that could be a good sign. Could Asia buy up? They totally could. Asia could totally fuck the market. They could totally buy up all the way up to like 97 for the price to drop. Yeah, Asia could totally do that. Yeah. All right. So that's kind of BTC. I've been looking at ETH BTC as well, and kind of analyzing ideas of a bottom forming. Okay. And you know, it's not easy. It's not easy to just analyze and to kind of predict. Most of the time it's speculative. In fact, all the time it's speculative. It's not 100%. It's not like guaranteed. Just looking at this, I'm seeing a really weak weekly close. Really weak weekly close. I don't imagine that this close is going to be higher than the previous week low. That's kind of what I need for this to bottom out to begin with. And if it doesn't happen, then I'm not thinking this is necessarily the end, because next week you could just go up and then go down and then fall all the way down there. And on ETH BTC, that means weakness, because when crypto is strong, ETH goes up against BTC, and when crypto is generally weak, ETH goes down, unless Bitcoin is going parabolic, and that's a very special exception. Okay. So we're just seeing general weakness. The only thing that gives me hope is that the monthly close was higher than the previous month low there. Yeah. So there is hope here still on this month, but it's a month is a long time to play out. It does look like on the higher time frame we've come into this area of demand and found support, but these are like a month time candles, and it's very hard to preempt how they could form. On this 2-day candle, it's about to close. I thought it was possible for this 2-day candle to go all the way up to the top to form a lower high there, or find resistance there or whatever, and it's basically struggled to get anywhere near those areas. Yeah, so it's a pretty weak 2 days of ETH against BTC. It's a very weak 2-day candle. It doesn't show much interest. Not much interest in buying, a little bit, but not much. And in this context, if this wants to go down, lower high there or a swing failure, and then you could just go down and then see what happens at the lows there. Effectively, we're still kind of in a little range here, but this is going to take a little bit of time to play out. It's hard to know what's going to happen next. On Friday we had a really poor close, but we did take the lows here, which kind of also made me a little bit bullish on Friday, because I saw a little swing Shimu high, saw a daily swing failure here. The price had already come all the way down. I wasn't bullish. I just knew that there was probably going to be an up. Yeah, and an up on ETH BTC means up on altcoins and ETH especially. And because you've got a really bearish daily candle there, which closed lower, all that's happened is the price has just come up to backtest this area. Yesterday was nice. Today we've gone up. If we close lower than the previous day high, I would consider that bearish. I wouldn't consider that bullish. It's always, and this is the thing, even though you consider something bullish or bearish, it's always possible for the price to continue going up. And so you end up with more green candles here, and actually the price does want to go up. It's always possible. But when you marry these ideas with the other charts, it makes it less and less probable. When you see Bitcoin showing weakness, when you see ETH showing weakness, when you see ETH having poor closes, and you see this closing, trying to close. We have to see how it closes. It doesn't really matter if it closes higher or lower, because the reality is on a candle like a green candle, the probability is that you're still going down to begin with, or to go up and then down, just to kind of that's and actually today we didn't really go down. No, we just went up. Usually what happens if you want to bottom out, the price goes all the way down to test the low first. Usually it didn't. I think the market was just really bullish, and we're trying to buy. That's really what this was, rather than the price trying to find the bottom here, and that's kind of what you want to see. So I'm not seeing what I like. I don't like this. I don't like any of this. I don't like the weekly close potentially. I think it's really weak. It does suggest probably lower, but it doesn't mean next week you can't go all the way down and close back into here. You know, like, you could do that. You could end up with a green next week. You could end up with a green weekly candle. Who knows? You could even end up with it's not a big candle, huh? It's not like a big massive candle that makes it hard to reverse. You could go down and you could do anything. I mean, there's a lot of things that can happen here. You could end up with a bullish engulfing next week. Yeah, you could go down and end up with a bullish. There's a lot of things could happen that could reverse this. That makes this reverse. Okay, but we're not seeing it right now, so there's probably more down to come. Probably that's what I'm seeing at the moment, and we just have to see how that plays out. Again, it's always a balance probabilities. See the 2 week. We've still got 7 days, but that closed lower. See, when it closes lower, it usually means it's still going lower. Yeah, closes matter when it comes to these higher time frame candles, especially when the price is trending, because it gives you an indication of what's to come. The 4 week candle, look, it just continued because you've got this really bearish engulfing candle, and then it closed lower. So they're all kind of saying similar things at the moment, and we're not seeing a reversal yet. The minute ETH bottoms out against BTC, you'll have your crazy Bitcoin mega alt season, whatever. The minute it happens, that's what you're going to have. I think it doesn't help us that you've got all these people shilling the next big moon, cryptos going to the moon. This is the time to become rich, and then the price keeps on putting in really bearish price action, and is not really demonstrating what people are saying. It doesn't give people much confidence. But you know, the lower it goes, the more bearish it becomes, the greater the opportunity, and the more bullish you have to become. So you have to inverse your mindset. The more bearish it becomes, the more bullish you have to become. But you can't be trigger happy. You're looking for strength, and you're looking for confirmation, and invalidation at the same time. Okay, so could this bottom out here? 100% it could. Could it go lower? 100% it could. Yeah, no one knows. No one knows what's going to happen. But the lower it goes, the more interest there is for a reversal, and that will be the low. Okay, and that's what you're looking for. We're looking to catch the low. So that was incorrect. Let me just kind of have a look at this volume in this area here. Where's my volume? Just take this range. Not that one. That one. Not that one. Delete it. Let's just have a look at the volume. There's no strength here, is there? Look, you've lost the point of control. A little bit of capitulation. I like that. Capitulations are nice. Yeah. But I mean, it's a bullish candle in a sense because you've got such a long buying tail with high volume or high increasing volume. So it's quite a strong candle. I think a candle like this could be the formation of a low. You look at this one though here. What happened to this candle? Somewhat similar. Look, a little bit of a capitulation. Look how the next week the candle went all the way down to the bottom of the candle to form a higher low there. So where's your entry? Like if you want to buy this candle, and what I'm suggesting is that would be a good place to buy your coins when this bottoms out. The best place is going to be at the low, isn't it? At the low of this candle. It's really the best place. Yeah. If you wanted to buy here, it could go up. But it could also go down. And that's why you wouldn't. But if it went up, you get another candle, and then you could actually buy that next candle. You'd be able to buy that next candle for a retrace. It'd be a lot easier to do that. So you almost have to wait for the market to show you strength, and then you can buy into that strength on the pullback, rather than when you're trying to catch a low, you have to wait for the low. You know, you can't just catch a low thinking that this is the low. What you have to do is you have to wait for the low price to come right back for a test of the low that's been made, if that's the low. I think in this context, I would probably want to see some kind of higher low, because in previous contexts I see it. There's a higher low there, there's a higher low there. This is a unique situation because it's a swing failure, which we don't have, and these are swing. This is a higher low there on the red candle. So you kind of want to see higher lows. You kind of want to see the candle to go down and put in a higher low on the weekly time frame. In this context, that's kind of what you want to see to try and catch the low. It'd be a good place to enter alts when this is right at the bottom here. That's basically a good place. even if it's just for a bounce, yeah, that's kind of a good place. There's no kind of, it's not really a support area, it's just a candle. It's just buying at the weekly low, because we've kind of lost the support here, haven't we? We've lost the golden pocket. It is actually a support area. It's a 786. So, but you know, the problem is no one really knows how low this is going to go. No one can predict that. You could get another week and it could go down, and it can go down, and it could go all the way down to the range low. Totally do that. And so initially they're very they're speculative entries. On confirmation you can add, and in this context, on a higher time frame, for ETH to bottom out against Bitcoin, and to be 100% sure, to be fully sure of it, you would need to get all the way back above the golden pocket, and you need to find support on the golden pocket on the point of control, which is they line up perfectly. That needs to happen first. Until that happens, there's no bottom. It can't be. It's impossible. Yeah, because we've literally gone through areas which should have held the support, and you can't buy into resistance because the assumption is that areas of support lost flip into resistance, and it's an assumption. And you kind of need to see the golden pocket point of control become support. I mean, you see that. You see the price is finding support on that area. That's probably when it's bottomed out. Probably. That's like a higher probability of that happening. Until that happens, crypto hasn't really bottomed out. And then you're probably looking for lower, probably. And then we just have to look for lower. But in this context, like I said, we have to see where Bitcoin bottoms out in this kind of range or area of getting a little bit of a pump now into this local value area high. Again, price goes up, people get bullish. Price goes down, people get bearish. Actually, you need to be bullish at the lows, bearish at the highs. That's what you want to do. You need to reverse your mindset. So we're in the middle now, so you can't do either unless you're bearish on the value area high. But you know, really you want to see, if you're looking for a short entry here, you want to see the golden pocket. We almost need to go up like that to reject off the golden pocket. Then you have an invalidation, because to go up there after that, you're not expecting that. You're expecting a reversal, and that would be an invalidation, and you could have a really a relatively tight stop loss, rather than just kind of hoping that this is the top, not really knowing. It could be, but you just don't know. And so that's why your traders will wait for the golden pocket to be tested. If that's where the price wants to, could this just go straight up? You know, anything can happen. You know, no one knows. No one knows what's going to happen. The 4-hour candle is still printing. We've got 9 minutes to go. You've got this dragonfly doji, this green dragonfly doji. Now it's red. Closing lower, big buying tail. It's a really nice 2-hour candle, huh? It's a really nice 2-hour candle. Yeah, I mean, it could probably go up, but you couldn't buy here. You'd have to wait for the pullback. If you want to, you have to wait for it to find support. Increasing prices, decreasing volume. It's just not the right place. Honestly, it's probably better to just avoid the market, or right now. Shorts closing here. Longs closing here. A little bit of a market long just entered there. 5 minutes. We're into the VWAP. We're underneath the VWAP. That is resistance. So not a good place to long. And actually the best place to long is right back down here on this buying tail. Right back down at the bottom. That's really the best place to long. If anyone wants to long, it's all the way back down to 95,780. Yeah, you might be thinking stuff, oh no, this is the bottom, I've missed the move. But that's the best place to long. Just wait for that. And then will you long? That's the question. Will people long? Probably not, because then they'll be like, oh my god, it's going down, I can't long. But that's the best place, right at the bottom. Best place to short at the top. Can you short? Would you short? You could. If you, but this is the place, like this is in this local range, this is coming to the top of the range. That's the place to short, not the place to long. It's the place to short. You either short or do nothing, but don't long. Yeah, you can't long at the top of the range. You shouldn't be shorting at the bottom of the range. You should be doing the opposite. You should be longing the bottom of the range or nothing, shorting the top of the range or nothing, basically. That's how it works. If you can do that, you'll be fine. If you can't, then you shouldn't do anything. So that's kind of my Bitcoin analysis. It's a bit choppier, it's a bit hard to trade. People trade this, they'll scale in, they'll take, the price goes up, they'll take profit, they'll just kind of, they'll trade. It's hard doing that, you know, you ladder in. The minute your position goes into profit, you take profit, you're just kind of skimming from the market, the volatility. You have to be quite patient to do that. You have to have a very kind of definite invalidation. In this context, probably somewhere around here, if you were just scalping the range, but you know, you're just adding to weakness, and so you have to take profit, because you'll get the bounce. You always get the bounce, but you remember you're adding to weakness when the price is dropping, and so when you do get the bounce, you have to take profit. You mustn't assume that price is now going to the moon. The only way you can do that is if you start adding to strength after you see price find support, or vice versa. And then you can add and continue adding without necessarily taking profit until you see a sign of weakness. But when it comes to something like this, there are people who will ladder into weakness and then they'll catch the pump, but then you have to just close your position and take profit, and then do the same thing, rinse and repeat. But you have to have an invalidation in that kind of trading idea, like in these bots that they use, these dollar cost averaging in bots. You can do that. You can use these bots like on 3 commas to do that. But really, the best place to long in this context is what I said before. It's either the golden pocket, the low of this range, and it is a range, even though people don't think it is. This is a range. It's been range bound and range locked for a while now. There's your golden pocket. That's a better place, isn't it? I would argue that the lower down, as low as possible, is better, even though the price could easily go down and find support like that. Just because there's a little bit of a high volume node there. Oh, there's a weekly level there as well. I didn't see that. Let me have a look at that. Where's yeah, look, that's really a good place there. The weekly level, high volume node underneath the golden pocket. What's that weekly level? So it's a washed weekly level, but it's still relevant. When I say washed, I mean the price has traded through it, so it hasn't offered any kind of support, but it can still prove relevant, especially when there's a little bit of confluence, which there is here. The confluence with this high volume node and the confluence with coming into the bottom end of this golden pocket. So that could be a good place for the price to find support. And if you see that, that could be potentially quite a good place to long. I think it's important to wait for a little bit of market structure to form. You know, I don't think it's a good idea to just try and catch the long hoping this is the low. If you do that, then it's a scalp and you really want to be in and out really quickly. But once you get a little bit of a lower time frame structure, a little bit you can see support is being found, then it becomes a lot easier to long. Yeah, and you'll see some kind of reversal on the lower time frame. You'll see potentially some kind of bullish divergence on the lower time frame that will give you confidence that this could be a good place. And so it's around 94.5. Just have to see if it reacts, if there's interest. If you get liquidations and the price holds there, if we see a drop and it just does that, I'm not interested. But if we get a drop and we get a really nice kind of reaction, then that would interest me. I'll be more interested. If we get a really nice clean reaction off that level, then I'd be start looking at that level as possibly you could get like this, and then the pullback, and then that's kind of what you're looking for. Local golden pocket, whatever, lining up with the bottom end of this area for your long, and then that could be it. That could be the bottom there. Okay, then you're still in, again, it goes back to what I originally said, then we're still in a Wyckoff type distribution, and we're looking for higher prices to go down type thing. Ultimately, it's very hard to long or short here. Ultimately, really hard, because it's just going up and down. It's just going up and down, bouncing around and just destroying people. When Bitcoin does that, alts do not enjoy life. They're not having fun. Yeah, there's no fun for alts when Bitcoin is like this. Yeah, because people are bullish, bearish, like it's hard. Yeah, you're thinking to yourself, could this be the bottom? Could this be it? Shall I just dollar cost average in here? What if there's another drop? You know, like, it's really difficult for alts to do anything. Let me have a look at Solana here. I was thinking, I'm still thinking this, I'm not 100%. Again, these diamonds are very interesting. Solana had a really bullish Friday, had bullish continuation yesterday on Saturday, and today it's gone up to take the top there. It's fallen back underneath these highs. Yeah, right now I wouldn't buy this, to be honest with you. It doesn't look like a buy. If anything, it looks like a sell. But you know, when you see green candles, that means that the price people are buying and it's closing higher. It's just that you're not buying and closing above where you need to close, which is previous levels. It's all falling. It's just kind of, it's not strong buying, huh? It's kind of weak buying. It's a hard one, huh? I'd like to think that this is reversing, but it could also just be doing something like this. Like a little zigzag, a little ABC type move, just to come back down here for another test of these lows. And actually, in this context, that's really the place that you want to look to long, at the low. Yeah. If not, you're just looking for signs of strength. It felt like Solana was quite strong, but when the price goes up like this, it's not stronger. It's not very strong when the price is just kind of going up like this. That's not strength. That's just max leverage. That's all that is, max leverage. It'd be a lot stronger it'd be a lot stronger for the price to go up if you were flipping levels. If you went up and you flipped, if you're doing consolidation, flip, consolidation, flip. Yeah, that's kind of would be better. That's kind of what you want to see for strong upward consolidation. Obviously, impulsive moves that's a different kind of move. This kind of correction is very scary because it keeps on going up, and then the final market buy gets sold into. So everyone's just waiting for that final capitulation candle, that market buy to sell into. Basically, that's what happened here. So you had all these kind of Solana degens, 100x, max long, 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 max long, max long, max long, max long, max long. Finally, someone capitulated. They just, fuck, this is going to the moon. I'm underwater. I need to sell quickly. I need to buy back. I'm in a short or whatever. And then they just market bought. And then the whole market was like, oh, wow, that was amazing. Look at my profits. Take profit, take profit, take profit, take profit. That's basically what happened here. Again, it's the same thing here, you know, like the price goes down. Oh my God, there's a little capitulation. And then it's people who are in shorts are like, oh, finally, look, it's max leverage, max leverage, max leverage, max leverage. Final capitulation. Oh, wow, look, I'm in profits now. Let me just take profit, take profit. So we've got a bit of take profit going on here. After you have these kind of mini capitulations happening. So I'm still not crazy bullish on Solana, even though it does move quite well at the moment, just because we have taken the all-time high and we have rejected from it. We have lost the point of control. We are in the low of the range. Bitcoin needs to do something interesting. Otherwise, these altcoins are all going to struggle a little bit. Looking at Solana's week, like honestly looking at that, if we close higher than the previous week, maybe next week could be a good place to buy it. Again, it's the same idea of what I said. Where do you want to buy in a weekly candle like that? You buy at the lows. You want to buy at the lows, don't you? So I'm starting at 50% all the way, wherever 50% is, all the way down to the lows. If you could have like a nice higher low here, the price was to go all the way down here for a nice higher low. That could be good, huh? That could be good. That could look good. If we close higher than the previous low, I'd be looking to buy that. I wouldn't be looking to sell, but then I'd be looking also for a little bit of confirmation on a slightly different time frame, daily. Like you can't buy that, you'd have to wait for it to come down. Look at these time frames. It's a nice 2-day candle now, potentially. That's 3 days. Daily. I don't like this daily if it closes like that, to be honest with you. Like a green swing failure, these local highs. I wouldn't like that. I'd want it to go down after this. We have to see how this closes. I don't know. Some poor 4-hour closes. 4 hours just closed. Look, it's closed lower. It's closing lower. Decreasing prices, increasing volume. It's not bullish, is it? You can't just buy that and hope it goes up. That candle. Yeah. I probably want to see how the next 4-hour closes, to be honest with you. That would help. But this one you'd have to ignore it. You'd have to just wait another 4 hours, basically. Whatever happens. You know, you can't. It's hard. And also the problem here on the weekly time frame is that what's the range? The higher you go, you're coming into the previous week close, which is resistance. At the moment it's resistance, you can see it. So there isn't really much buying range here on Solana. Go up to about $203 and that's it. Whereas the sell range, you can go all the way down to the bottom, potentially, if it closes like this. So you have to kind of consider those things too. And then the monthly time frame, well, on the monthly time frame, we closed lower, took the highs. It's pretty bearish, and so I'm not sure what I'm expecting next. To be honest with you, I think probably focusing on Bitcoin and ETH would be better than just looking at Solana, and probably better to buy Solana when ETH is bottoming or showing signs of bottoming. Or the degens are buying, so you think lower, but it goes up. And that's the problem. It's just you can't. Coming at the edges is always better than coming in the middle. See, ETH is going up, Solana's going up. See that? So they're kind of following each other a little bit. ETH BTC, look, ETH BTC, they're all following, and then BTC is actually showing a little bit of weakness here. So I like that that BTC 2-hour candle, to be honest with you. And this is quite nice too, a little kind of potential reversal. Have to see how this next. If that closes like that, you could get a nice buy up, which could be why these are showing a little bit of strength. But let's see. Yeah, this is choppy. Chop. RH, hi. So what else is going on? What else did I want to talk about? What's going on with TRVL? I don't know if anyone's interested. It doesn't matter. I'm still going to do it. So yeah, TRVL, we lost the all-time low. If anyone isn't aware, I gave a warning to people on Discord about TRVL just because I've been following it for such a long time, and I didn't want people to feel like I'm trying to manipulate or lie or whatever. Just being honest. I didn't make a video. I didn't make a video of it because I didn't think that's necessary. So I'm not trying to FUD the project. Anyway, it's here somewhere. I don't know where it is. Anyway, it's a lot. I have to go up. So let's have a look. I actually warned everyone on Discord about TRVL. It just wasn't looking strong. There's no way to defend the price action. Yeah, I don't want to be disingenuous and pretend that this is great. It's not great. Nothing changes. I'm wearing a Dtravel hat. I'm still here. Other, you know, like, I'm not just going to abandon something I believe in. I think what we're experiencing in the market is there's a direct correlation with what we're experiencing and what's going on at Dtravel. I think what we're experiencing now is massive uncertainty about the future, a lot of questioning, a lot of reflection, self-reflection, a lot of fear, a lot of anxiety, a lot of doubt. A lot of people have entered higher up and their investments seem like they're going to zero. Look, it feels like it's going to zero, doesn't it? Feels like it. Sometimes those can be the best times to buy. Yeah, this could be the buy of a lifetime on a project that really has a massive amount of potential, like potential beyond our imagination. It could be, yeah. It really could be. I really believe that. I honestly believe that. Otherwise, I wouldn't continue to talk about TRVL or Dtravel. Okay. Arguably, the price rises have something to do with my videos. You could argue that. I don't think so, but you could argue that, you know. Arguably, the price declines and rises of the market. You know, there's different explanations, but fundamentally what's going on here is problematic because you have lower highs and now we've got lower lows. We've got bearish market structure that hasn't been changed. The problem is that the range is so fucking big, 300-400%, that it's hard to break, because anyone buying here or anyone longing here or whatever, by the time the price goes up 200, 300, 400%, they're taking profit, they're selling. And unfortunately, in a low liquid, low volume environment, that reflects badly in the price action and people panic sell, which is what's happening, panic selling. So as soon as the price was sold at the top, people who sold did not buy back in here, and as soon as you lost it, people started to sell. It's a low liquid environment, reasons beyond my understanding, but fundamentally the reason why, I mean, we can argue about that, so I'm not really here to argue about the reasons why, but the reality is it is a low liquid environment. And so when you get kind of suddenly the whole market becoming hysteric, they start all selling, and so you end up with this kind of crazy sell-off, which is what we're experiencing, a crazy sell-off. We had one chance opportunity, one little buyback here at around 4.5 cents, and eventually that was sold into. And ever since we put this kind of dreadful capitulation type candle, really bearish, it correlated with the ST tag on Bybit, which was unfortunate because that was a mistake, that was an accident. Bybit changed the terms of projects qualifying, and they didn't warn Dtravel about some certain conditions for qualifying, and then they just labeled the token with an ST tag. From what I've heard, that's been rectified, but it's been rectified as far as Dtravel is concerned, but it hasn't been rectified on Bybit. So therefore there's still this air of uncertainty, fear, and it doesn't help that the rest of the market is just generally, when I say the rest of the market, the rest of the altcoin market is just generally extremely weak. Bitcoin dominance keeps on pushing up, and this kind of the wider fear, uncertainty and doubt has kind of fueled the fire. The fire was still raging, but it's fueled the fire. And so now we're in a situation where this could be an opportunity of a lifetime. And I think it is still, but obviously some certain things, which I'm not going to talk about really, probably need to be addressed by Dtravel. Okay, there are conversations happening in Telegram and elsewhere. Private conversations, public conversations, ideas being floated around, suggestions of changes, etc. But when it comes to crypto, what you need are two things. You need really good people leading the way. And I mean good, I don't mean morally good. I mean good at what they do, good at understanding the market, good at understanding context, good at understanding the community or interacting with the community, good at kind of keeping the community engaged, and good at responding to kind of questions and fears and doubts and anxieties when things are treading difficultly. That's really important. And then the other thing you need in crypto is a crazy fanatical community, crazy fanatical, like a mentally crazily, and so the community is the one that actually supports the price. And so when you get a situation like this, it's clear to see that the community is not rallied around the price. And we can argue about the why. People have different opinions about the why. Some people think everything is going as planned, some people think everything is great, and some people think the opposite. I think that there are two aspects, or potentially three aspects, to Dtravel. And what we're one aspect of it is the real world application, the peer-to-peer application, the one that I use for my businesses as an operator on Dtravel. And that's fantastic. Honestly, that is amazing. That's like off the charts. I can't describe, I can't tell you how impressed I am. Let me see if I can find it. Is it Halt? Halt. There's this kind of page where you can see all the stats of the bookings and the listings, etc. Wish I could find it, but I can't remember the name of the link. Maybe I'll find it in a second. But the application is really good, and proof of that is in the pudding. Yeah, the pudding which I've eaten. Okay, so this is my site hosted by Dtravel. I can accept direct bookings in my apartments. Very good, amazing, really good. I mean, it's just it looks basic, but it's really good. It's really good because it works. All the problems have been ironed out. It's connected to so many different payment gateways and channel managers and etc. And so it's very accessible. And it works very well. You can collect payments through Stripe and fiat, credit cards, whatever. It's really good. It's a really good peer-to-peer application. The records of the transactions on the blockchain are recording them to the blockchain, and it's a very technologically advanced application. It's cutting edge in many ways, and the other aspects of Dtravel which are really good are also kind of the app that they launched, the Traveler app. So see if I can find it. Really good web app, yeah. And this is basically an application already worth the value of Dtravel. Everything that they've done is already worth the value of Dtravel. So when you're coming to contemplate Dtravel, then without kind of looking at all the noise and the fear and the anxiety and the doubt and everything that people are thinking about, just focus on the market cap. $7.2 million market cap. This is already worth more than the market cap, much more. Yeah. And to date, Dtravel has processed over $1 million worth of direct booking transactions. So that when you look at the market cap, you think, what the hell? 7 million market cap, 1 million in transactions. How does this correlate? Okay, it doesn't correlate. It makes no sense. It makes no sense whatsoever. So why the sell-off? Why are people losing confidence? What is this? What is this price action? What's going on? Can you just ignore the price action? Should you just be buying and just waiting for this to somehow bounce up? I think that's a strategy that people can use. Just keep on dollar cost averaging in and not even look at the price. Just forget about the price. Just who cares? Your final value is your TRVL value. I think the problem is that fear can grip a lot of people when the price is looking like this. Yeah, and it's hard to catch a falling knife. I don't recommend it, because you'll buy somewhere here at a really good price, 1.8 cents, 85 cents, and then next week it's going to be at 1.6 and 1.4, whatever, and you're thinking to yourself, shit, how low can this go? That's what you think. Or is this it? Is this the final drop, and then Dtravel is going to collapse? Well, I can assure everyone, Dtravel is not going to collapse. From what I've been told, they have a runway which is going to last comfortably for the next 1.5 years without any new injection of investment. Yeah, so there's no problems there. Absolutely no problems with the runway. Dtravel is just going to keep on doing what it's always done, which is building and growing and establishing itself in this area of trying to decentralize travel, but beginning with short-term vacation rentals. So there's no problems with the business. Yeah, and as far as I can tell, the Dtravel team should be applauded for what they've done, and I've been a beneficiary of that in my own business. I think what we're experiencing here is something slightly nuanced, because even though people have kind of can see the business, they can see the value, they can understand it because they're comparing it with Airbnb to some degree, what we're not experiencing is the explosive growth. And last year when we were discussing the tokenomics, you look at the tokenomics and kind of do a little bit more of a deep dive, you'll see that in the, oh, not this one. Why did I go to that page? Not that page either. Learn token, something like that. Not that page. It's quite hard to find. Oh, there it is. Documentation. When you look at the tokenomics, and that's directly relevant to me and you, crypto, the crypto crowd. Yeah. What you'll notice is that the value primarily comes from two areas. Primarily, it comes from burning, and then it comes from people buying TRVL to stake to earn. Okay. Now, basically, in the last year, it hasn't been implemented. That's part of the problem. So we haven't really had the ability to evaluate whether the tokenomics could work or not in providing value or increasing value, and also hasn't given people the opportunity to stake, which would have helped with the selling, because now you can stake and you can't stake. What do you end up doing when the market's in a downturn? You sell. Whereas if you can stake, then the APR can offset the volatility a little bit. Okay. And then the other thing is that this burning. So I think that's it's potentially, it could be good, but actually in some ways it's a flaw, because the burning is directly related to the real world transactions and the size and the growth of the physical network. And even though we're growing, we haven't grown fast enough to warrant significant burning. And so you could argue we're at the tip of the beginning of this kind of journey. But the thing is, the growth hasn't been significant. And so I think people are coming to realize that. Yeah, people aren't stupid, half the time we are, but some of the time we're not. And so when it comes to understanding how the value is going to come, where the value is going to come from, you're thinking to yourself, well, how much value is TRVL is going to be burned? When you've done like $1 million's worth of transactions, 3% is going to be burned, and that's going to roughly come to about $30,000. And in the scheme of the price, $30,000 is nothing. Yeah, burning $30,000 worth of TRVL doesn't add value to the price. Yeah, it's not significant enough to take that much TRVL out the circulation. So the tokenomics that we're looking at, impressive as it may look, doesn't really do justice to the token price. Yeah, it's designed for an Airbnb size business. That's what it's designed for. It's designed for a fully fledged real world business that's doing millions of dollars of transactions per month or per day or whatever, and then you'll start seeing real increase in value in the token. And when you have a real world network that hasn't grown fast enough, and fundamentally the reason why it's not growing fast enough, fundamentally, and I'll tell you just from based on my experience, of my knowledge, of my interaction with other Airbnb superhosts and hosts, this is me, the reality is that most people won't leave Airbnb, yeah, for two reasons. Firstly, because it's centralized, there's a layer of protection. That intermediary actually protects, even though at times Airbnb has shown themselves to be hostile towards the host or towards the traveler. On the most part, there is that protection, that level of protection where they control the funds, they control the booking, and they can make decisions which protect. And people like that air of protection. But more importantly, the traffic. Yeah, Airbnb drives pretty much most of the short-term vacation rental traffic in the market, and so there's no real incentive to come over to Dtravel, and so the potentially saving on 10% or 12% or whatever percentage, passing that on to the guests isn't enough, isn't niche enough, isn't not niche enough, it's too niche, isn't enough to bring over the masses, to bring over the crowds. So I think we've got some kind of more fundamental issues to deal with, and the problem that we're experiencing in reality is that the tokenomics does not help our early stages of growth. It doesn't. There's nothing here that's going to incentivize me as a host or someone else as an Airbnb host or to come to Dtravel. Yeah, and I think this is a real issue, and I've talked about this in the past. I've processed 27 bookings on Dtravel, and the 3% TRVL return to me is so pitiful that it's not even worth my time. The amount of energy and effort it goes to taking a guest off Airbnb and bringing them onto Dtravel to incentivize them with discounts isn't worth the TRVL that I get back, especially when the TRVL price is dropping and dropping and dropping, not going up. If it was going up, it would be in a different ballgame, because whatever I make in TRVL is going up. And so that's a real problem. And tokenomics is a well thought out tokenomics, but it doesn't address the needs of the hour, the need of the moment, which is the ability to attract people, the ability to grow, to incentivize the real world network, and the ability to grow a community which now has the ability to use their TRVL and grow their TRVL value. It's just it hasn't been implemented, and even if it was implemented, it probably wouldn't do justice, probably. Okay, so it isn't just the tokenomics though, because the reaction hasn't been in a timely manner. We haven't had a timely reaction to the price action from Dtravel, and so there are other kind of fundamental issues in terms of the inability for Dtravel to understand the changing market in the crypto, because instead of there being 10,000 tokens as there was in the last bull market, now there's like millions, lots of meme coins. And so what's happening is that there's so much rug pulls going on. People feeling are starting to go back to the big blue chips, the bigger tokens, the ones which have large communities where every time the price drops, when it rallies, it pumps, like Solana, etc. And so they feel safer. A lot of people feel safer with those kind of more established tokens. Some of them are still low market cap, but more established tokens with a track record and a real kind of a business that's fully functioning. than with a more of a kind of a speculative investment. And that's kind of where we're at now. And I don't think that it's smart to sell. I really don't. Even though people are doing it, I don't think it's a smart, this is a smart play. Even though people are probably thinking to themselves, they were smart because they sold at 2.4 or at 2.6 and they can buy back in. The reality is that most people probably won't buy back in, because the lower we go, the more bearish this looks. It would have been nice to have a little failed auction or kind of find support at the all-time lows. We haven't done that. But that's kind of where we're at now. I can't lie, I'm not buying. I'm not actually interested in catching a falling knife. I never have been, and I'm not going to here. I'll probably just wait for the price to settle it, and then also I'll wait to see what happens at Dtravel, because there are some changes on the horizon, some big changes, I think. And I think any kind of significant shift in strategy or the makeup of the leadership or the way it's led, the communication, the community, or anything that kind of changes that is going to be positive. And I think probably when that happens, probably you'll get a really fast bounce back. And when you get the bounce back, a lot of people will be out of position, and they might have sold at like 18 or 19 or 21, 2.1, whatever. And then before you know it, the price will be right back at 3.1. And you shouldn't have sold, huh? You should have been buying rather than selling. But it's just hard to tell people to do that, so I'm not telling people to do anything. Okay, that being said, I am going to contemplate a couple of ideas for the lows. Okay, and I just for more of a technical thing. No comments on the project. I think it's a great buy, honestly. The market cap is 7 million. You know, it wouldn't be, all it really requires is someone with a bit of money to come and market buy like $1 or $2 million worth of TRVL, and the price will be right back at 4 or 5 cents again, and people will be like, oh fuck, I shouldn't have sold, oh I should have just waited, why did I panic sell? Yeah, and you never know, that shit can happen. No, shit happens, and in crypto anything can happen. So I think it's just, I would personally, I'm just being patient, just waiting, because I think changes are coming. They have to, and I think the application, the project is sound. Okay, I just think they have to marry the application with the correct style of leadership, okay, which engages with the community and gives value to the community, so we can build a community, a fanatical community, with a vision and a plan reflected in the tokenomics, which incentivizes everyone to participate, the community, the operators, the travelers, the investors. Yeah, and we don't have that at the moment. And so you've got the kind of the perfect storm which has arisen. This is a perfect storm, but the storms pass. Storms pass, lows are formed, and then we pump to all-time highs. Basically, that's the future that I'm envisioning. Okay, and then when we pump, it's going to be a mega pump, but that will and hopefully will coincide with all of the kind of the issues being addressed behind the scenes. And so I'm not an architect of any of that, you know. I've just been here kind of just streaming, whatever, just waiting and watching. At the lows, I will give my 2 cents. Like everyone else is giving their 2 cents, I'll do the same. In Telegram, I'll go in there and give my 2 cents. That's not FUD, that's being honest. It's being honest at a time where it's already FUDded, you know. There's already fear. We've had fear, uncertainty, and doubt now since there. So it's not like anyone coming here and FUDding now isn't going to make any difference, because most of the people who sold have already sold. Yeah, so it's not FUD to raise your concerns and highlight issues when the price is already all-time lows. It doesn't really drive the price lower. What's driving the price lower right now, just to give you a little bit of context, is the crazy downward momentum that we're experiencing, and that's really what's driving the price lower at the moment. And so what I usually do is I just get my simple moving averages. I go to the daily time frame, and you can clearly see the 20 moving average, the 50 moving average. You've got this ugly downtrend. the price is just really in a bearish downtrend right now. Every moving average is bearishly pushing the price lower and lower and lower. And this is just going to happen. This is going to keep on pushing until every single person has sold who wants to sell. This will only go as low as the last person who sells. Eventually it will stop. Eventually it will stop. Yeah. So as long as people continue selling, it will go down. It doesn't really require buying for the price to stop going down. It just requires the selling to stop. So eventually it will stop. I don't know when it's going to happen, but you've got this crazy downtrend, which is at the moment causing the price to go down. And so while people are looking at this bearish downtrend, they're feeling bearish, and so they're trying to kind of de-risk, de-leverage, de-whatever, and that's what's happening now. So they're not looking at the bigger picture. They're looking at the price action on a local time frame. In maybe 2 or 3 years time, we're going to be trading at who knows what, but right now people are feeling really bearish. They're not buying, they're selling. And I think it's coming to levels where it could be the buy of a lifetime personally. And so the lower it goes, the more interested I become in buying large amounts. And that's the reality of it. Yeah, the lower this goes, the more likely it is that I sell every bit of my crypto, whatever, and I buy a shit ton of TRVL because I'm still crazy bullish on this project. Okay, despite everything, despite anything that's happened or said. Yeah, just because I know those things can be rectified. All of the problems that have been highlighted can be fixed. Everything that people are concerned about can be resolved. Community engagement, communication, transparency, roadmaps, positive, cooperative leadership, strong, smart decisions at the right times, better tokenomics, improved. Everything can be improved. All of that stuff is just stuff that can be improved. While the discussions are going on, while the price is dropping and people are feeling anxious, yeah, you're getting a lot of bad blood, a lot of bitterness, whatever. You can just all throw all that away. This is starting to look like the buy of a lifetime, honestly. Yeah, it really is. It's bleeding, but so I'm not saying start buying, but you shouldn't be thinking of selling at these lows. You should be thinking of buying, okay? For all the reasons that I gave, it could be the buy of the lifetime. Yeah, it could be your one opportunity to change your life and to become wealthy. And my promise to you is that I'm doing my utmost to introduce positive ideas and positive changes to kind of improve and address all of those issues. Now, that is taking a little bit of time. That's requiring a little bit of toing and froing. That's requiring a little bit of emotional release. But we'll get there in the end. We will. I think we're going to get there in the end. Okay. And the other thing is that I have also proposed a significant shift in the way TRVL generates and grows value. I'm not going to blow my own trumpet because everyone thinks their idea is great. I think my idea addresses all of the things that people want in crypto. I've been around in crypto long enough to know what people want. And I think my idea addresses all of the things that people want, including burning, including staking, including good APR, including even gameplay, etc., etc. So I'm not going to describe my vision, but my ideas address what people want, and also I think my ideas address what we need, where we need to be. But that's a secondary conversation. I don't want to go into it right now. But when you look at the price, it looks terrible. Yeah, and obviously people are kind of contemplating Bitcoin and thinking, oh my God, Bitcoin's going to crash. I better sell. But ultimately, the community is what holds the price. If people stop selling, this price stops going down. So I think stop selling. That would be my first wish. But beyond that, just looking at the higher time frame, I just want to kind of highlight a couple of things that will potentially help you decide where to buy. And that's really what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to help you where to buy. I don't know, like everything I do is speculative, not financial advice, entertainment value only. I'm not telling you to buy, but I'm giving you ideas of where the price could bottom out and timings too. So we've invalidated, so just so that you realize what's going on, we have actually technically invalidated any bullish divergence. So there was bullish divergences formed on different time frames, we've invalidated. When the price takes the low, you invalidate the bullish divergence. It's just the way it works, yeah, because then there was no bullish divergence because the price made the lower low, and therefore it's just following the price, and the indicators that you use, the MACD or whatever, or RSI, are just following each other. Okay, maybe one is leading, but they're just following each other. So by taking out the low, the all-time low, we've actually invalidated any bullish divergences. And so ideally you'd want to see that start forming again. Okay, so that would be you can't see it on a higher time frame like the weekly, but maybe on the lower time frame we'd like to start seeing some bullish divergences form. That basically means that will give you an indication that people are buying. The other thing is that in the past I've talked about fib time, and you know, fib time is speculative. You can be right, you can be wrong. I think I was right and wrong when I said that this 1-to-1 is 1.618 was the low. It was the low until it became the high. At the time that I said it, it was perfectly the low, and the price went up a good 58% until it actually indicated the high. So again, fib time is an area, and it's very hard to kind of know exactly what's going on until it happens. And the interesting thing about this fib time chart, plotted from the beginning of the birth of TRVL, if you map it to the first low to the first rise, the 618 gave us the all-time low, the first all-time low. The 1-to-1 gave us the first high. And then we got, so let me just get rid of, I've got two at the moment, so let me get rid of the second one. And then look, the 1.618, even though at the time it was a good place to buy, because we were back testing the 5.5 level, and it was coinciding with this 1.618, and the price did go up 58%. The reality is, in this context now, on a slightly higher time frame comp, it looks as though the 1.618 was actually indicating the high. So we've gone from low to high on these major pivots, and the next major pivot, time pivot, is, according to this time scale, is the week of the 21st of April. So basically the last week of April. So potentially, just based on the way the price is moving, potentially I'll be looking for the low to be made sometime in April. I don't know where. Ideally just here. I wouldn't mind if it just goes sideways and we go up like that. That'd be perfect. Yeah. But I can't predict that. And you probably do need to go sideways for a long period of time to flatten out the momentum on the lower time frames and the medium time frames. Yeah. Because the momentum is a problem. Downward momentum. And if we can flatten out, we'll be fine. By the end of April, we'll be fine. Okay. So potentially we're going to get a low. And there's no reason to think that this is just going to go down, down, down. This is ridiculous. It's not going to do that. There probably will be a relief rally of sorts in the future. More like that, huh? There probably will be. Eventually there will be. Okay. And that would be a good place to buy, because you could easily, in a relief rally, you could easily go up 50%, maybe 100%. Who knows? Like, relief rallies can be mental, can be really bullish, can feel really bullish when they happen. No one can predict that. It's just food for thought. But I think it's highly unlikely. I mean, it could happen. It's highly unlikely we just go down and down and down. It doesn't make any sense in my mind. Okay. Here there was a couple of relief rallies in the move down. Here there was a few relief rallies in the move down. We haven't really had one though. So usually there is. And that will probably coincide with Bitcoin landing where it does and starting to pump. And when that happens, I think people just start to market buy TRVL again, and it'll be back to happy days when the price goes up. So that's this fib time is quite interesting. And then also, if you correspond it with the other fib time that I did, there's confluence. And so this was the other one. The other one was from this pivot to this pivot to this pivot. You've got the 618, which kind of landed at the lows here. The 1-to-1, which again bizarrely comes to the highs, and you have the 1618. Guess where it is? The 21st of April. So I can't, I always see this afterwards. It's hard to see from before, but you have a confluence now of fib time on the 21st of April. You have the 1.618 here and the 1 to 2 on different higher time frame pivots. So I would argue that that is kind of like the area where I'm looking for the price of TRVL to truly bottom out. That's kind of like my future idea. And the where is also speculative. Okay, now because we're going lower, this fib pool changes. So whereas before I had 3.30 area as a big resistance, now because we're going lower, we have to kind of trace this to see where the low is formed. I don't know where it's going to form. It's going to change our fibs actually, and actually that could make it easier to go up. And so this is what people need to realize. In some ways, it feels like it's harder to go up the lower you go, but actually the lower you go, the easier it is to get up if you can reverse the momentum. And that's what we have to do next, to change the momentum. The reason why is because the first fib comes lower, and so it's a lot easier to flip an area that's already acted as support in the past if the fib level drops. Yeah, so bizarrely, whereas before we had the first fib to the 236 as 5.5, it was hard to flip that into support for reasons that I can't explain. It was difficult. We were never able to flip 5.5 into actual support, and that would have been great, because if we could have just been doing that, then by April whatever, we could have smashed it. Yeah, and we didn't get that. Okay, but bizarrely, the lower you go now, the easier it becomes, as long as you can overturn the momentum. Turning the momentum is really important. That just requires people to stop selling. I'm not saying buy, but if you do want to buy, put limit orders and absorb the selling and stop selling. Just stop selling. If everyone stopped selling, the price would stop going down. All right. But obviously, if people want to just push the market to capitulation, and then do it. You know, I think the capitulation level is probably going to be much lower than people imagine. Okay, just because we're in a lower liquid environment. Maybe that's what's required for the market to regain confidence. But like I said, the lower we go, the easier it becomes to go up, and the more interest will come into this token because it's so cheap. But eventually you have to cancel the momentum. So this is going to be quite interesting to see how low we eventually bottom out, so we can redraw our fibs. Interestingly enough, and this is quite interesting, when you redraw your fibs and to the lowest point and you do a fib extension, okay, you actually have higher targets. It's really bizarre, isn't it? The lower you go, the higher your targets become, yeah, in an extended move to the upside, okay, and the higher the resistance. So in some ways, going lower can actually be extremely bullish after we turn the momentum, okay, and also after certain things improve, which regains confidence of the community, and then that starts to grow again, regrow again. Okay, so if you can marry those two ideas together, we could actually be setting ourselves up for the most amazing explosive move in the future. Okay, it's just food for thought, entertainment value only. So here, interesting enough, the lower we go, the higher our targets and the more money there is to be made. And so just consider that. Yeah, it's hard to conceive, but it's a possibility. And it's not a probability, it's a possibility. Obviously it depends on Bitcoin too. Yeah, that goes without saying. So we've got these really important time pivots. Now when it comes to this move, I would argue this whole thing is now a corrective move, like one higher time frame corrective move, just for the price trying to find the actual low, which it obviously hasn't found yet, hasn't found the low. Now you could argue that part of the reason it hasn't found the low is the fundamental changes, or not changes, just fundamental issues, possibly. But eventually we'll find the low because the project's not going anywhere. The project like I said, has a runway for a good 1.5 years. All the team are still dedicated. They're still working hard. They're still committed. They're still passionate about Dtravel, decentralized travel. It's just, you know, at the moment we're going for a kind of a period of uncertainty for many different reasons, and that's what we're experiencing. That's what the charts are showing us. That's all that's happening. It's not it's alarming, yes, but it's nothing to be worried about if you're a long hodler like me. All we do is we just go back to the drawing board. We work twice as hard, we bash it out, we discuss, we argue, and then we finally come up with something even better, even more amazing, even more bullish. Yeah, and that is what I'm striving for. That is what I'm yearning for. Really, that's where my mind is at. Okay, to try and come up with something even better, so good that it's too good to be true, and only then can we explode out of these lows. Okay, that's kind of what we're all working for. And so what I wanted to share with you is a possibility, it's always a possibility of some kind of higher time frame WXY. Yeah, it's just speculation, and everything comes to light after the fact, not necessarily during this. You see, the thing with corrections and moves is that they change. You know, people argue, oh, this is what was happening all the time. Well, no, it wasn't, because we had our impulsive move here and here. If we hold a higher low here, then you're into your next impulsive move. Like, things don't, this wasn't always going to happen, but as things develop, then you can start seeing other things, you know. And so it's a story in motion, you know. It's a dynamic story. So possibly I'm thinking maybe something like this, like an WXY. Maybe we had our first kind of push down, 1 2 3 4 5 there. Maybe this midsection is just some kind of higher time frame corrective ABC, and maybe what we're experiencing now is the final ABC, and it's plausible. What I'm suggesting is very plausible for the final corrective move. Yeah, it doesn't excuse the problems. The problems still have to be rectified. I'm not saying this was always going to happen, but this is our current trajectory based on everything that has been happening. This is our current trajectory, and depending on how the problems get addressed depends on how low we go in this Y. We're already at all-time lows, so it doesn't really matter how low we go, but obviously I've said the lower, the more bullish it could become, but it doesn't change the fact that the momentum has to stop. The downward momentum has to stop, which is why probably we need to change and shift the momentum by the end of April. Once we can flatten out the momentum, then we can actually ping right back up, and then you're in a crazy bull cycle like of this token, and forget about the rest of the market. All right, so if this is what I'm looking at now, which it is, and I do my trend-based extension, effectively I'm taking it from the top there to the W to the X, then I've got a very low target of 0.008. I think that would be as low as I can imagine this, based on the original move, based on the original down move. Really, it can't, I mean, you could argue it can go all the way down to there for a 1-to-1, but it's just so low that it doesn't make any sense. That's as low as I can imagine the price. Yeah, so I'm not saying it's going to go there, but I would say that if tomorrow you wake up and the price is there, you buy the fucker. You buy like hell, because you're coming into some kind of higher time frame, a massive fib extension, which corresponds perfect. Price could only move so far before it comes back, you know. That's just the price moves like that. But this is on the highest time frame, so I don't expect that to happen overnight, if it is going to happen. And actually it may not happen, and the reason why, and I'll explain why, is because on this last corrective move, this last X to Y that I have, yeah, you also have you can also do a fib, a trend-based fib, and I'm using the MEXC chart. So It might be slightly different when you combine the charts, but I'll just use this because this has the correct all-time high. So these are not exact numbers, they're as always, there are areas, and you'll go from there to here to here. And based on this move, this corrective move, so to speak, the one-to-one puts us at about 14.5 or 0.014 for your one-to-one. So this is a one-to-one. That's kind of probably where I think the low could form initially. Yeah, could form. Yeah. And obviously if it doesn't form there, then right down to this lower number, which would also have confluence with this fib extension and the other fib extension that I did. Not that one. This one. There's kind of a little bit of confluence down there at 8 point, whatever this is, 0.0083, 0.0088, somewhere around there. Okay, I think that's as low as you can possibly go in this token without some kind of crazy bankruptcy bullshit, which I don't, it can't happen really, because they have a 1.5 years of runway. Like, they can just go for another 1.5 years without any extra investment with the current team doing what they're doing. So I just think that's just crazy. And the team have been there since the beginning. They haven't changed, so they're 100% committed, so they're not going anywhere. So it's just hard to imagine. All right, so this is kind of roughly where we're at. I'm not saying it's going to go to any of these numbers. I have no idea. I just want to be clear about that. I don't know what's going to happen, but I do think that these are areas where the price could find some kind of natural fib support. And the proof is in the pudding. We'll just have to see what happens then, whether people start buying, whether the selling stops, if it does get down there. The other alternative, and the other reason why this kind of 1.414 area is good, is because if I do a fib extension, it's a bog standard fib extension, very simple analysis from this low to this high. You've got this area here, which is what I indicated is the 1.618. That's a really good area if it ever gets to that area. That's overextended, so I don't expect it. But initially, this first area, you see the 1.272 of this and the 1-to-1 of that. There's another kind of little bit of an area here where the price could bottom out. Like, we just have to see what happens. For the price to bottom out, it's the same thing needs to happen as I've always said. You need to see a change in market structure. It's very important, change in market structure. You can't bottom out without changing market structure, and that requires a little bit of time. And I'd like to see it on the daily time frame. In this context, yeah, the price would have to, in this context, the price would still have to do what I said. It'd have to go all the way up to there, 2.8, 2.9 cents. Let's take out that high, put in a higher low, and take out the high. That would be a change in market structure on the daily. If you see that, that's a bottom, okay? Or at least that's a kind of a temporary bottom, like a daily bottom, okay? Not a higher weekly or monthly bottom, but a daily time frame bottom. So in this context, it doesn't really matter when it happens or where it happens. When would be nice if it happens at the end of April, because that would coincide with our fib time. But if you do have kind of like areas in mind, initially maybe 14 here, 0.014. If that's the area that you want it to bottom, you want to do the same thing. Lower high, lower low, higher high, higher lows. Oh, all of a sudden you're looking at an inverse head and shoulders pattern. That's kind of what you want to see. You want to see market structure change on a daily time frame. It just indicates that the people are buying now. They're willing to buy higher, and they're willing the sellers are not willing to sell lower. That's all. It just indicates that the market has changed from selling to buying. Okay, once you see that, that would be a real nice signal. And then the other thing that I was thinking, and this is also possible because everything is possible in crypto, is a mad old world. Yeah, so everything's possible. We are at good places to buy. Anything underneath the previous all-time lows is a good place to buy. It's a buy zone. This whole thing is a buy zone. Just like price discovery to the upside is a sell zone, This is inverse price to zone. It's a buy zone. This whole thing is a buy zone. It's just you're not looking to just catch falling knives, and so you're just waiting for the price to settle. And while it isn't settling, people are panic selling, hoping to buy back lower. That's really what's happening right now. Selling to buy back lower, or maybe selling for other reasons to buy other tokens. All the way down to my level, we have another 23% drop. But this is the level of interest, this all-time low. So let me just mark it off. It's a very important level. So if you want to mark it off, you should. The previous all-time low. Okay, that's a really important level. And the reason why it's an important level, because you could also end up with a failed auction. A failed auction would be the price to kind of not go down that far, just fizzle out, and then suddenly you get a buyback and it just takes the price right back above there. All of a sudden you're above the previous all-time low. That'd be quite impulsive. And then the correction would find support back above the previous all-time low. Yeah, it may not do it in one go. It may take a little bit of time until it eventually does. And that's why I'm saying we're in a buy zone now. We're not in a sell zone, we're in a buy zone. Okay, I can't predict that. I don't know if that's going to happen. No one can predict that. But that could be, that's also possible. That's also possible. It's also possible, and no one can know if it's going to happen or not. Eventually, what will happen, and we'll just have to see it and then analyze it and see what happens. And that would be quite good if we had a failed auction of the all-time low, found support of the all-time low, and people would be like, oh wow, the all-time low was good. That was just, we had an opportunity to buy low, we didn't. Who cares? We're going to just buy back in now and then pump. And then you've had a failed auction of the low. We're still bearish on a higher time frame, but you know, in a situation like this, you could traverse right back up to the high of the range. So you're still range bound. It's just that this was a deviation, technically deviation of the lows, failed auction, and then you're just going right back up to the top. And we're just range bound. We're just effectively, TRVL is a range bound token. It's going from highs to lows. Great for trading. Potentially, if that happens, a lot of people will sell into that next pump and come right back down. Maybe then people will start trading this fucking range. Yeah, maybe this is the history of TRVL for the next however many months or years, just up and down, up and down. Who knows? Like, no one can predict the future. Maybe, you know, maybe actually this is a good token, because the next time people will be looking to sell and waiting for it to fall back to the lows again, and then, you know, and then eventually we will start getting some higher lows, and then get out of here, you know. And this is the thing, like, anything can happen, and we just have to be patient. So at the moment, we just have to let this fizzle out and bottom out and find a low. You could arguably buy anywhere here. You could wait for a daily market structure change. You could wait for lower prices, or you could just wait for a failed auction of sorts. There's lots of things you can do. But one thing you don't need to do is rush. There's no need to rush. There's no need to rush to sell. There's no need to rush to buy. You could just wait and see what happens. And ideally, ultimately, what I want to see is this downward momentum to fizzle out. It will eventually. Okay. It will probably require some kind of relief rally, some kind of impulsiveness, just to kind of, otherwise this momentum is going to really be difficult to overcome. Or some strong limit orders. So this price just goes flat, and then eventually you just flatten out, whatever. It'll just flatten out. Some strong limit orders would go down very well. If someone's out there watching me, multi-millionaire, just put some big limit orders there and just absorb the selling, and eventually the selling will stop and we can fizzle out this this bullshit momentum. The other thing that we can look at, which is very interesting, is on a weekly time frame, you have these kind of higher time frame moving averages, these weekly time frame moving averages, the 20 and the 50, which is the ones I generally use. It's flat, isn't it? It's not really going down. It's flat. Even though it looks like the whole thing is going down, it's not really, is it? Because the momentum is actually, ever since we kind of crossed it here, bottomed out here, the whole momentum of the higher time frame is pretty flat. It's a flat momentum on the highest time frames. It's not downward momentum, it's flat. Yeah. So effectively we are bottoming out on the higher time frame. It's just that right now we've taken the all-time low. And so it's looking really bearish. It is. You see here the monthly time frame, the 20 moving average is flat. What we don't want to do is linger here for too long. Yeah, so whatever happens, we don't want to linger here for that long. We don't want to be down here for months on end. We don't want to end up here for months on end. Yeah, because if that happens, these higher time frame momentum lines will start trending down, whatever. And if you're just down here and stuck, then actually you're looking to go lower. Yeah. And so whatever happens, we need to get this, whatever needs to be sorted at Dtravel, whatever needs to happen really soon. Hopefully sooner the better. And hopefully we'll get a failed auction and just come back above here, just to bottom out here. And then by end of April, we can take this token to all-time highs. Why not? Why are people so dreary? If you could put all-time lows consecutively 4 times, 5, 6 times in a row, why can't we put all-time highs? I mean, we just have to change the ingredients, just kind of cook something different. So anyway, am I feeling bearish? No. Actually, you know, the emotions that you feel when you're bearish are the best times to buy. When you start feeling really bearish, these are the buy opportunities. So the lower we go, the more bullish I become. And when it comes to the other problems, the fundamental problems, as I told you, I'm working really hard without getting paid a penny, lots of time and effort into this. It's a hobby of mine. I want us to do something great. I'm doing my best, my utmost to influence is one word, or to suggest, or to bash. I don't know, use whichever word you want. If you don't like my manner, tough, you know, this is what you got. You can either get along with me and we can work together, or you can be a Grinch and just be really, really nasty and just make fun of me, whatever. That's on you. It's not on me. Okay, because I'm here trying to help people to not panic sell, and I'm trying to show people that there is value in Dtravel, and we have the potential now to do something amazing. Like, I really believe that. Eventually it will require some kind of fresh start. Once we do get over that final last bit, that fresh start, we can't look back. We have to just wipe the stain clean, and then everyone has to be on board and just go forward. And that's what I think will happen. I really do believe that. Otherwise I won't be here making another TRVL video. Okay, so I've given you some kind of ideas of what needs to happen, what could happen. I'm actually quite encouraged by the higher time frame momentum. It's flat. So often, you know, you'll be lingering in the lows here, whatever, however low you get, and then the price is just going to ping right back up, because that's how momentum works. And when you've got this higher time frame momentum, I'm not saying it doesn't come back down because of the kind of the lower time frame momentum still being kind of dreary down, but that's sometimes what happens, and that's kind of how you turn these kind of the lower time frame momentum. That's how you change market structure. And so we're kind of looking for the price to just slow down. Yeah, it's a really bad idea to sell into negative price discovery underneath the really bad idea. Like, whoever's doing it is honestly mental. It's like, we're only 4, like, you've sold the all-time lows, and in 3 days, 4 days, whatever, you've only gained 4%. That's a terrible trade. The risk is to the upside, not to the downside. You're selling 4%, yeah, and to the upside, to the top of the range, let's just say 9 cents or whatever is the top of the range, it's 300%. It's mental. It's mental what you're doing. Whoever's doing that is nutcase, yeah. And so despite the uncertainty, the fear and the doubt, I'm here to reassure you that there is no fear, uncertainty and doubt, because I'm here doing my best, my utmost, making sure, and I think the Dtravel team are fully aware of the difficulties, and they're all seriously looking at the proposals and the changes that I've made, that different people have made. They're not sitting on their thumbs doing jack shit. They're doing something about it. They may not be good at communication. I can help with that. That's why I'm here, to help communicate. But they're doing their utmost, and be sure that we're going to recover. We're going to fight back, and when we do, it's going to be glorious. Okay, and then we'll forget about this shit. Forget about all the difficulties, you know, because there's no triumph without a little bit of difficulty. Yeah, it's really that simple. That's what I believe. You know, hard times create character, and good times create induces confidence. Right now we're just building our characters a little bit, you know, like, can we hold on, can we suffer a negative portfolio balance, whatever. You might argue that they've done things wrong, so will I, but I think the most important thing is that we can overcome and get over this and then look to a brighter future. It will come eventually, as long as certain changes are made. That will kind of calm the community a little bit, and then beyond that, addressing the real difficulty of introducing TRVL, utility value, which can induce volume, etc., liquidity, and all those kind of more technical difficulties. And the problem is that these shit coins, these meme coins, are sucking the liquidity out of the rest of the market, and so these genuine real world crypto products, Web3 products, have struggled. A lot of them have struggled. Yeah, so it's for us to kind of be ingenious, to be creative, to be innovative about how we tackle those problems and come up with something that can fight back. And that's what I think that's really the direction we should take, that we should acknowledge and recognize what's happening, and then we should now look to pivot to something which is going to actually do what needs to happen for the future. But I mean, that's just food for thought. This is where we are, and it is what it is. So let's not over panic. Yeah, let's not panic. Let's just watch for the momentum to fizzle. Look, there's a little bit of buying today. Look at that, a little bit buying. Yeah, this is on MEXC, so there's a little bit buying today. Look, this is market buying. So selling, buying, there's some people selling and buying. That was a little capitulation, but it's only come back down to test the bottom of the candle. Now we're kind of trying to get back above it, so we're kind of forming some kind of lower ranges, and eventually the momentum will fizzle out. Eventually it will, like looking at the lower time. Look, this is the lowest time frame. We're trying to flatten out these lower, look, see in 5 minute time frame, this momentum is actually up now. We're kind of trying to trend up now on the lowest time frames. You can see there's market buying. Some people are just panicking. I think if you do panic sell, then and you're still interested in the project, just put some limit orders and just wait for the selling to absorb the selling. That'll be appreciated. Thank you. All right, that's TRVL. And I hope you enjoy my content. If you do, just like it, share it. Let's get the word out that there's nothing to be stressed about, you know. That'll be appreciated. Thank you. All right, let's just quickly have a look at Bitcoin. What's Bitcoin doing apart from shitting all over the place? Let's look at ETH. Yeah, Solana's pumped up to 201 again. Pumpy, illiquidness, slow. All right, so my updates for Bitcoin were as at the beginning of the video. So if you just want to go and have a look, I kind of go over the different options of what could happen, what I think are happening or could happen. I'm not going to rehash it again. I'm not in any trades at all at the moment. I was longing yesterday. If you're buying, you've got to buy the lows. Yeah, don't buy the highs. Yeah, I'm looking at this. Where's a good place to buy? Right here in the buy and tell. You get me? So if you're looking to long, you're looking to buy, that's where you buy. You don't buy up there. Yeah, you're not buying for a breakout, because if there's going to be a breakout, and this is something else that's quite important for people to understand, this whole price action that we're experiencing is corrective. It's possible to trade corrective movements. Yeah, that's why I wait for the dailies to close. Yeah. It's possible to trade corrective movements. So when you time them right, you can actually do quite well. But there's no impulsive move in these corrective moves. The impulse is going to happen from a low. So wait for the low. It's not going to happen when the price is just zigzagging about correcting. Yeah. The impulsive move, the move that people actually want, which is I buy and the price just flings away and I'm in crazy profit is going to happen from a low, yeah, or a high, or a high, yeah. So if you're looking for the crazy moves, the moves where you can make a shit ton of money, go for the lows. Don't go for the middle. Don't aim for the middle. This isn't where the impulse begins. There's no impulsive move. So if the price is trying to go up, you think, oh my god, it's going to break out, I'm going to miss it. But how did the price get up there? Was it corrective? Like, look at the price action here. The price is going up. This is all corrective. None of this was impulsive. So why are people thinking it's going to break out? It's not. Yeah. It's not going to break out. There's no breakout in a corrective move. Yeah. It's just correcting. Now, if you go down and you impulse and consolidate here, that's when you could actually consolidate to break out for higher. It's the difference. There's a difference in the price action. You have to see what's happening. That's what you're looking for. If you're looking to buy for a breakout, you're looking for an impulsive move to take you to the high, and then you're looking for some kind of flat bull flag, whatever, flat correction with bullish divergences for continuation, which would break out. And then even in that little range, you'll still be buying the lows of the range, that little range, or scaling in or whatever. So when you're looking at this kind of price action, it's the same with selling, you know, and like people are thinking to themselves, every single time the price hit the low, how many times did the price break out? Not once. We've literally hit the low, this little low bracket, how many times? And it hasn't broken out once. Once, twice, 3 times, 4 times, 5 times, 6 times. Haven't broken out once. I mean, broken out like that. Maybe the 7th time is bad luck. And the only reason why it's 7 times could be bad luck is because you're putting lower highs. And so eventually the pressure, the sell pressure is dropping. And so you'll end up like this. Then you could break out. But that's not a breakout. That's a capitulation. It's like a mass. It's not a big short. It's just a big long closing. And then shorts pile in. And then you find then big shorts take profit. And then that's actually the long to have. Because that's when the first impulsive move comes. After the big short takes their first profit, traps these shorts, you have your first move, and then you could potentially break out to go up. So you have to see how the price is moving, and that's why you shouldn't rush into things. When you see the price move up in the middle of a range, you're thinking, oh my god, it's going to break out. It's not. The probability is no. The probability is just range bound price action is back down to the bottom of the range. This is looking really bearish, just FYI. It's looking really bearish. Yeah, it's looking like a little bit of like a head and shoulders at the lows at the moment. And eventually this low will be broken. Then we'll be into the golden pocket. And then I'd like to see what happens next. What's going to happen with Asia? I'm probably just being patient here. I'm not going to just jump in. I'd like to see how the daily ends. I'd like to see how the weekly ends before I determine what I'm thinking about doing next. But I've kind of indicated the golden pocket's important. This kind of this area here. I've indicated the different options in the beginning of the video. So go watch that, and then that will help. Maybe. Not financial advice. Entertainment value only. All right. I have to go, guys. I want to quickly cut that video for TRVL and then go. All right, so have a good evening. If you're not in the Discord, the link's underneath. It's free. Not financial advice, just entertainment value only. I kind of chat there. Anyone's welcome to come and chat about anything really, crypto or general. Altcoin Dreamer is here. He's talking about some trade ideas. So definitely worth having a look. If I see anything, I'll just post it there. You have to use risk management. It's really important. But if yesterday's soul looking strong, and it wasn't it? Everything is turning. I think I timed that quite nicely yesterday. It always feels bearish before it becomes bullish. Let's go up. So I kind of mentioned I kind of timed it right, like 4 p.m. yesterday. Oh shit, you're not seeing it there. 4 p.m. yesterday here. Look. Soul looking strong, everything is turning. The Might have been saying lows, feeling bearish, which is when it becomes a harder time. About 4 p.m. And if you look at 4 p.m. yesterday, Bitcoin, here, look, I'm just basically commenting on the price, 4 p.m. It's about here. So I kind of told you on Discord, everything's looking good, everything's turning, and Solana was a good one. This Bitcoin went up 1.5% or so, 1.3% at 4 p.m. yesterday. Where was Solana? Here, went up 6%, you know. So again, you don't have to catch the absolute loads to catch any kind of move. It's just about correlating the different tokens and charts and trying to kind of see what they're saying. All right, I have to go. All right, have a good evening. No stream this evening. This is it. But if I say anything, I'll post it on Discord. And hope you have a good weekend. Have a good week. All right, bye.